You can mute me. Here, I'll mute myself.
Greetings, Saber fans. It's your old pal, Benji Graham. And this week we got something real special. We're going to interview some Saber nerd. You nerds out there, we're going to interview you one at a time before we get through the lab. You need to know those Saber nerds. You know, it's good to get to know your fellow Saber enthusiasts because you never know when somebody like Uncle Luke's going to come and strike you down. Or try to strike you down. Ah! That Saber's cool.
I will do what I must. You will try.
This is the bill that made my grandfather the great man he is.
Revenge is not the
My
Jedi
grandfather
way.
or something. I guess she's my cousin or something.
Jedi.
Traitor!
Do what I must.
Then you will die.
Grandfather.
Your father wanted you to have this when you were old enough.
Yeah, he killed 30 kids with it.
Master Skywalker, there are too many of them. What are we going to do?
This is the weapon of the Jedi Knight. Fancy or rapid. An elegant weapon for a more civilized age.
What's up with Ben and Luke? I was trying to kill my people, man. See, there's old, good old Uncle Luke trying to take out my family.
Strike me down with all of your hatred, and your journey towards the dark side will be complete.
Palpatine's kind of a jerk. What's up, cuz? The dark saber is kind of awesome. You know, I hate to admit this, but Uncle Luke obviously inherited some great skills from my grandfather. Yeah, there's an awesome lightsaber. That's
So right.
You people think I'd put in a clip of Mary Sue beating me in the woods? Got a chance on that. See you next time, suckers.
Greetings, Saber fans. Joel Pal Meg2 Sith. We're live. This is a lightsaber that was born today. T-Rose Graflex, Broflex, if you will. Thing was born today. It's for a buddy, Eric Wilkinson, who's a 501st Legion member down in Tampa, Florida. But enough of that. Tonight, we have a special guest, and I see y'all are blowing up the comments already. We got 18. We're not even on there. So tonight, we bring in one of my favorite dudes in the whole Saber community. My job is stressful. My job sucks. And a lot of times I see this guy on the internet, and no matter how bad my day was, he makes me laugh. And I'm so happy to have him on the show tonight because I think he brings a lot of laughter and a lot of positivity into the Saber community. And he has a really unique perspective that's a lot different than a lot of other Saber builders out there. And he's just very inspiring. If y'all haven't met him, I don't know how, but let's meet Benji Graham of Nerfherders Customs Lightsabers. Welcome.
Dude, what an intro, man. Wow.
No,
I step up my game, dude.
Dude, I even did a trailer for you, Benji. I
know,
went
dude.
and stole a bunch of your videos and stuff. I was like, oh man, look at this. Benji's talking about his dad coming over to his house, throwing his laundry on his couch. And then
I was like,
And then
There's-
Kyberpunk's like, you mean your bed? And you're like, oh yeah.
yeah, for sure. I'm a dude. I know it's a weird thing. I'm a couch sleeper, man. Like whenever we went on that trip, they were like, everyone was showing all the rooms. They're like, check out these couches, Benji. And I'm like, man, you know what? I was like, I like to sleep on a couch, man. It's weird. It really is. I know, but yeah, man. If you go through my channel and look for things, oh, good grief. You know what I mean? Like I think about that every now and then, and I'm like, how much incriminating things do I have online at this point?
No, I don't think any of it's incriminating. The funny thing was like when I went on there, I was like, oh my God, like I could have like an hour-long trailer. So,
Dude, you know, I used to get like every now and then I was doing, you know, especially when COVID first started, was kind of when I started the channel a little before COVID. But I was just like, after a while, I was like, man, I'm kind of getting bored of just doing like sound font reviews or just the same video over and over again. And I never really put any like effort into the channel other than that. And then I started making those silly things every now and then. Like I made an advertisement for myself or whatever, or like it was like about me and it was like sponsored by me. It was so dumb, but it's like 2 minutes and I completely forgot about it. I think it's in my Scrapflex video or something like that. Cause I was like somebody commented on my Scrapflex video asking questions. And I was like, man, it's been a minute since I've seen this video. So I played it for a minute. And then all of a sudden it jumps into this literally like a campaign ad for Nerfherder customs. I was like, oh my God, man, what a silly thing to do. But I don't know, man, you gotta have fun with it. I mean, it's lightsabers, you know?
yeah, it's insanity. Like I'm the funny thing is, you know, I mean, I guess most people know I'm a police officer, which is, I try to not talk about that a lot. But you know, I've been a cop for 28 years, and the job is stressful, man. It sucks.
Oh God, I can only imagine.
But you can understand, like, it's a testosterone zone around there, and you know, those guys are like, you're into lightsabers. I'm like, yeah, lightsabers are freaking awesome, man. But the funny thing is, the SWAT team founder's he's into Star Wars too. He's got a full-on ESP Boba Fett costume.
You never know, man. You never know who's like obviously everyone's into Star Wars, but like there's been times over the past like few years where I went to like different like a baby shower and my friend was like, yo, bring some lightsabers. Like I got cousins and people who want to see this stuff. And I was you know, situations like that. And I'm like kind of like, all right, I'm going to walk in and like have a bunch of lightsabers for people. And you always sit there and go like, cause I'm meeting people who are like, yeah, I'm a neurosurgeon. And I'm like I do all this. And like, I work on shuttles and I'm like, cool. Well, here's a bunch of lightsabers for you guys. And then those people are like super into it. And like they want, but you sit there and you think like, this lawyer's probably not going to be like super into like, I tinker with lightsaber stuff. You know what I mean? But they are. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, it's awesome. The funny thing is like that the ESB Boba Fett guy, he was at the station, he was working out and he's lifting weights, you know, he's a SWAT team guy. And Chief grabs me and he goes, hey, look at that tattoo on his arm. That's kind of scary looking. Well, it's a Mandalorian crest. And I'm like, there's nothing scary about that, Chief. That's a Star Wars tattoo. And the Chief goes over to him and he goes, is that really a Star Wars tattoo? And Fan looks at me and goes, you motherfucker. He was trying to keep it a secret. But yeah, I mean, Star Wars is a cool thing. But yeah, I get some ribbed at work because of the lightsaber thing, but I don't give a crap. I mean, I love these things since I was a kid, you know.
Well, I mean, hold up, dude. Who let solo sabers in here, bro? Block. There you go. Good job. But yeah, dude. I mean, you troop and stuff too. That's something that I would love to do. Because like, okay, so I don't really ever get to like interact that much with people in person with lightsabers, you know, unless it's like a party or something like that I was talking about. So I used to film a bunch of conventions, like comic book conventions for a buddy of mine at the time. And I went to, for like 4 years, I was at almost every convention across the United States, just running around with the camera. You know, we did Celebration, which was the highlight of that gig for me. I got to go to Celebration for free and see a bunch of people. And at that time, you know, people only knew me from the Facebook groups and stuff like that. But like to troop and stuff would be so cool, man. Cause I like that's people that are like talking your language, you know what I mean? And like, and you get to like nerd out with them. I'm super jealous of that. Every time I see a picture of that, I'm like, man, I want to troop.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. The cool part was, you know, I initially got the ideas. I didn't want to troop to like do Comic-Cons and stuff like that.
Yeah. It's different for sure.
Well, the big thing down here was we have 2 childhood cancer hospitals. One is in Charleston at MUSC in Charleston, South Carolina. That's pretty close. And,
right.
The other ones are in Raleigh and Chapel Hill, that area. and basically you'll have these kids and through Make-A-Wish Foundation, and they want to see a certain Star Wars character.
Yeah.
And you know, we take those characters to the hospital and do those visitations for the kids that have cancer, and it's you know, it's an incredible journey. But you know, every now and then you get to do parades and Comic-Cons and those kind of experiences too. But you know, the kid thing was incredible. You know, that you can bring that wish to a kid who might be dying or might not.
Yeah, it's something that like, because I mean, maybe more than that, like 2010 ish. Because I've always been prop building. I was always into costumes, props, and all that stuff. So I did some cosplay stuff like way back then. Like I built my first full Iron Man suit and went to event. Like the theater in my hometown was like, "Hey, we heard you building an Iron Man suit. Can you like show up to the premiere, like the Avengers premiere, right?" And I was like, dude, I went straight up like, here's my what I need. You know what I mean? I was like, so I had like 5 friends and everyone, like I made costumes for all of them. And I was like, I want, like, you're gonna stop like our picture taking thing, and we're gonna come in and pick our own seats. Like, I want some drinks. Like, I made demands. You know what I mean? And so like that was a lot of fun, man. But I mean, I can only cosplay as certain characters, man. I was like, Jesse's been saying, and I want to do it, but it's just like the time. But Heavy Mando, you know what I mean? And I was like, oh, dude, I would love to have a big Gatling gun backpack. You know what I mean? Like, just go all out. But dude, it takes some time to do that stuff. Cosplay stuff it's fun, but whew,
yeah, it's you know, I sewed. I don't know how much of this I've shared with the Saber community here, but I actually sewed my whole costume myself.
Really?
Yeah. So I mean, my sewing machine is right down here. It's out of frame, but I actually did all the sewing and it's crazy.
Dude, I got super into it. So like I did for 2013 at Atlanta's Dragon Con, I did Bane from The Dark Knight Rises, and I spent like 8 months like powerlifting and like jacked on like 30 pounds. And like my job was like they tried to test me for steroids, and I was like, nah, dude, just so much protein and like stupid working out and dedication. And they're like, why are you doing this? And I was like, a costume like party, like I'm just gonna dress up as Bane. But yeah, dude, I shaved my head and we went to Dragon Con, which is just probably the most fun convention I've ever been to. And I was just like, dude, it was overwhelming. Everyone was making me break their backs and shit. I was just like at the end of the day, I'm like walking, like I'm like, oh god, I'm so tired of lifting up people, just slamming them on my knee or whatever for pictures. But man, that was a lot of fun.
I got to find my Darth Maul pictures, because actually the first costume I ever did, Star Wars costume I ever did, was before the 501st Legion, was Darth Maul. I actually bought the red contacts.
Oh my gosh.
You know, I'm follically challenged anyway, so you know, the bald head is no worries because I'm already there. And then I got the glue-on horns, and I made the horns out of Play-Doh, but I glued them on. And then we did the makeup. Oh yeah,
it's so long ago, man. Like a professional photo shoot and shit. Some guy was like, can I borrow you for a second? And I was like, sure. And I didn't realize what he was doing. He was like, stand over here on this X. And then all of a sudden there was like 50 cameras. And I was awesome. like, dude, I can't be doing this thing all day. That's fun, man. I highly recommend it. I didn't mean to interrupt you, dude. Sorry. I just was like,
no. I was just saying, you know, that's cool. I mean, that you did that. So, I mean, right now, you know, we're talking about, you know, what it takes to get into those costumes. Well, my Kylo costume, the bad part about it is the jacket, the main jacket, the tunic that shapes the rest of the outfit. That was like, it took me almost a month to make that jacket.
Yeah, and dude, it's crazy, man. Like how long, like you think it might take you just, you know, it's just a jacket or something. Dude,
well, the bad part for me was I gained all this weight in the last, you know, during the pandemic, and I didn't fit in it anymore. And it was hard for me to, you know, get in a costume. So, you know, right now I'm on this mission to lose weight. So every morning I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and I run 4 miles with my dog.
4 miles?
Yeah.
Dude, I was like, I haven't in a minute, but when I got back from that trip with the boys, with, you know, Jesse and OnlyFans, dude, you know, I won't fill out the whole form to set up the OnlyFans. You know that. You know, I'll get to like all the information, be like, I'll do it later. But no, when I came back from that, I was like, man, I need to start getting back in shape and whatnot, because you know I spent the last 3 years sitting here at this desk mostly. You know what I mean? Like like most of the gigs I was doing were getting spare. You know, few and far between, and I was supplementing Saber work for that. But then I was like, dude, I got a dad bod like crazy, bro. So I started running, but I've only do like a mile a day, and I'm like, that'll do it. That's the key right there. But
Man, Jeremy's all over this, man. He's bad in chat.
oh, hey, dude. Well, it's because I antagonized him all day today. Like, like I've been trolling him for like 4 or 5 hours with pictures, man. And I'm like, I need to stop, because he kind of like checked it, and I was like, oh shit, because like I love dogging on people that I just, if the more I love somebody, the worse it is for their peace. You know what I mean? So like when somebody's like, I'm gonna get you, I go, oh shit, and I'm like, I definitely earned it. And then that's when I start to like kind of lay low, like, come on, man, I didn't mean it. You know, I'm like, you don't have to. And then somebody makes a video of me or some shit, and I'm like, oh god, it escalates, man. That's like what happened with me and Robert back in the day with the mom joke thing.
Oh man,
He made some video of it was like some kind of, I think he had Dylan do it, or somebody did it, and it was like they face swapped me into like a bunch of like redneck people and like just worst white trash looking crap, and like they were talking about my mom and all that shit. So like while Jesse and I were hanging out one night, Kyberphonic Fonts, or no, we weren't hanging out. I messaged him, dude, like one a night. I was like, hey, can you make me a sound font? We made that entire sound font. Seriously, went right to it. And it's like Robert's mom one, the Miss Soto one. And dude, released that thing, made it free on the video. It blew up, and I was just like, the game's over, boys. Like, I don't want to play anymore. Like, I had a professional sound font made, dude. All the noise, it pissed off some people too. Some people were mad, like, how dare you have a, I guess, porn like sound font? Because I mean, realistically, there's a lot of moans and slaps and stuff.
Yeah, I know. I heard it. I was like, oh god, y'all are out of control.
It was bad because I had to be like, yo, everybody, like, I think like Clint said that he had my channel on in the shop. Like he wasn't paying attention, and he was just like, he had like speakers going because, you know, he has his lathe or whatever, and he was like, he said he had to run over and pause it because like once it got to like the moaning and the slapping and all that shit, it was like echoing out his shop. His neighbors were like, "Is he watching porn in there? Like, what the hell?" Oh man, that font got me in so much trouble, dude. But worth it, bro.
That's a disaster, Benji.
It was bad. I know it was really bad. I felt bad, kind of.
We're gonna get into this. We're gonna get into this and let the Saber community learn some stuff about you. So I got a bunch of questions here. I'm gonna throw you. If any question makes you uncomfortable, you don't have to answer it. You can say, "I'll pass." Pass on that.
You should have been hanging out with SP Sabers and Jesse and Absolute. It was about 3:00 in the morning the other day. We were going into some really uncomfortable questions.
Oh man, well it got crazy. It got crazy last night on Space Windows stream. It was actually on Mundo's. On Mundo's stream, Mundo Monday. Mundo was in here. I think Mundo's at work listening to all this stuff. But
oh yeah, I haven't really. Sorry, chat. I'm so bad at looking at the comments and talking. What's up, guys?
Yeah, you got Chet Osborne, you got Josh R, Smuggler's Outpost, Solo Sabers, Kybertech Sabers is in here. Yeah. You've got Cole. I saw Cole. You've got Titan Gray.
Waffle House Throwdown has started.
Yeah. You got Ken Kanama, Chet Osborne, Mundo, Bobby Susanbach. You know, we got tons, Cinzy. So we got tons of people in here. That's kind of awesome to see everybody. But let's get into this, Benji. Are you ready?
Let's see it.
So where on this planet do you hail from? You don't have to give your exact address and areas. Cool.
Okay. So for the past, well, I'd say about 20 years or so, I've been in Alabama. And I grew up military kid. So I went from, this is why I'm extremely, I'm like a calico of nature. You know what I mean? Like I've lived in Alaska twice. I lived in Guam twice. I lived in Washington, Port Angeles, Washington, which I really, really loved. California, and then Cape May, New Jersey when I was really young. But I definitely had like once we moved here, I kind of like we planted, you know what I mean? And I got to actually like kind of have a childhood, I guess, in a way, because we got here when I was like about 15. So I've been here ever since. I moved away to New Orleans, which is about 2.5 hours from me. Lived there with some friends for like 3 years, got all my partying out of my system, and then I came home and now I'm an old hermit. I was like, I love it. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, it's not I get dogged on so much, dude. Like there's palm trees here. Like I'm 40 minutes from Florida. Like I'm not in like the I might look like I drive a truck and I, you know, spit in a bucket, but like I don't have a truck. I spit in a bucket for sure. Though.
Yeah, my aunt and uncle actually live down there on the coast of Alabama too. So,
Oh, yeah?
I know the area pretty well. But I probably need to come and see them. But if I do, I'd probably be more interested in going and building lightsabers with you or something. But
that's what I'm saying, man. I have a night out on the town, dude. I've only ever had one meetup here in my town.
Jeff Burns.
Jeff, yeah. He was coming through, and that was the first time I ever got to talk to somebody with the same kind of language. Well, actually, was that? No, it was after Celebration, I think.
Yep, I remember that. I saw the videos from that. I'm like, oh,
and I was so awkward.
Meet Benji.
I was so awkward. I was like, hey, like he was live stream. I didn't even like have any type of abilities. I was just pressing record and hoping for the best.
Hey man, it all worked out good. You know, I guess we have that in common. I'm a military brat too. Hey,
really?
AA battery, Mountain Sabers. We got some more viewers on now. Yeah, I was born in Hawaii, and I do have a birth certificate. Yeah,
that's what's up, dude. I've been to Hawaii quite a bit growing up. My dad would take trips because he still works for the Coast Guard as a civilian for the past like 10 years. When he retired, he just kept going and started teaching. And yeah, man, I every time he went to Hawaii, I was like, yo, dog, make it too, dude. So I had a lot of fun doing that. The Redneck Riviera. Destin area, dude, I used to have a route in Destin. I had to drive there 3 times a week. Whew. It's beautiful. Dude, Scar takes 3 Hey, can we block this guy, dude? Who's this? Solar Sabers, dude?
Yeah, you know, Jeremy's he's chiming in. That's always
dude,
good stuff.
We drove what 7 hours in a V8 Hemi, dude. I get like 16 miles per gallon. I was like, get in. I picked him up in Florida. I said, get in, bitch. Let's go see the
yeah. Get in and we're gonna ready to ride. So what's your profession, Benji? What's your day job?
My day job now actually is pretty much I'm in between, man. I've done videography for years, and then whenever COVID happened, it like really shut it down, and I haven't done any production gigs in a while. And I've pretty much supplemented Saber work to kind of keep up. You know what I mean? And I don't really do that much Saber work. I've always tried to maintain it as like a part-time gig because I don't work fast when it comes to Saber installing. I'm like I've been doing it for too long that like I can't keep up with Jeremy's pace. So that would just it's so
I can do maybe 10 or 12 a year. I mean, I watch Jeremy and I'm like, well, I mean, I'm working full time. There's no way I could do Jeremy's pace, but
no, I was well when I was in New Orleans, I moved back home. My family's my mom's handicapped, and I came home to just be closer. We've always been close, unless you stayed whenever they relocated growing up. Like my brother was on the other side of the United States my whole life. But I moved back, and they're hilarious. If you can't tell, there's a reason I'm turned out the way I am. They're just the life of the party. But I got into I did truck driving. I drove 18-wheelers for a very brief time, which was hilarious. And then I did uniform service delivery for a company that got bought out by Cintas. It was I was there for the last few years of that. But then I was just dead end working 14. God dang it. I was working like 14-hour days, you know what I mean? Like not making much. And my buddy was like, hey dude, like, cause I'm a huge film buff. And so he does that. He was like, hey, come try video production with me. And really just saved my like passion for stuff. You know what I mean? Like I love doing that job, but now I'm going to take up a gig. I think I'm going to try to get in there. Hopefully they don't see any of my online presence, but I'm going to try to do, my buddy runs port security here. So
that's awesome.
I'm going to do that. And then hopefully, focus on Saber work stuff for fun. You know what I mean? Like,
No. I definitely know. I mean, I'm in the same boat, Benji. I mean, this is a hobby to me, and I never take on, I try to just take on one commission at a time. Like right now, that T-Rose Graplex is the only thing I got going here. Now I got some other sabers I've just been building, like the cross guards. They'll come out.
Yeah.
Hey, little tidbit about where I live that is kind of cool for you, for your profession. Do you know where the top movie making cities are in the United States for making films, making movies?
Making films and making movies. I actually do not. I hated making movies.
Well, you got Hollywood.
Well, yeah. Is it? It's not. I know that wasn't South Carolina. There was a city in South Carolina. No, they got something with Swamp Thing. I remember they had that show Swamp Thing. They were like, come here and film, and we'll give you like 40 million tax incentive. And then they filmed like half a season, and they're like, sorry, we lied. And like the whole thing got canceled. I was like, ooh.
Hollywood's number 1. New York is number 2. Wilmington, North Carolina, where I live, is number 3.
Wilmington, North Carolina.
Yep.
Yeah,
we're number
dude.
3.
I
One Dawson's Creek, Sleeping with the Enemy, domestic violence. I've met movie stars. Eric Estrada was just in town, and I worked a contract with him and Lieutenant Dangle. Have you seen Reno 911, Lieutenant?
Oh
Dangle?
yeah, dude, I love Lieutenant Dangle, dude. New
I
boot
got to
goofing.
meet him. I got to hang out with him all day.
New
That's
boot
so
goofing,
fun.
man. Yeah.
Oh.
Dang. Did you say? What'd you say? The disturb. What was the violent one or the movie?
Domestic violence.
Domestic violence. That's with Vince Vaughn and freaking John Travolta, right?
Yep, John Travolta was here. I met John
kidding.
Travolta.
So they doubled your town for Maine. Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
Another big one that was Weekend at Bernie's was filmed here.
Dude, I spent a weekend at Bernie's, dude, aka dragging solo sabers all over the place while he's napping everywhere, dude. Good God.
I know. I was looking at all those pictures, and I'm like, yeah,
dude,
man, that's awesome.
Look, you guys got to understand that, like, one of my favorite things to do is to make shitty pictures with like a PicArt app or whatever I have on my phone, and I have more stupid pictures of Jeremy than I should let people know. You know what I mean? Like sometimes I'm like, you know what? We'll just sit on this one. I don't need to like unleash them. But I scrolled through and I saw like all these memes that I've made that, you know, I haven't posted. You know, obviously every now and then I will post them on my channel or my Facebook page, my Nerfherder Facebook page, just to kind of like, you know, joke around and show everyone, hey, this is fun. You know what I mean? Like, let's have some fun, because it can kind of feel serious a lot of the times. You know, if I'm just posting pictures of a hilt or whatever. But yeah, dude, there's quite a few I don't post because I'm like, all right, I can't be like making pictures of Jeremy all the time. But funny enough, I made about 2 today, I think. Did I make like 2 today? Jeremy.
You might have to share your screen or something, huh?
Nah.
Yeah, you got Jeremy sweating. He's like, oh crap. What's Benji gonna do? What's Benji gonna show?
Dude, I mean, like, you saw him gardening? Remember him gardening the other day?
Yeah.
Dude, look at him in the ring, dude. I got him, dude. I got him. He wrestles dirty, dude. Straight up.
Oh man, that's messed up.
I need to put the phone away before I get in trouble, dude. That's what needs to happen. Dude, so many people send me pictures of Waffle House and all this stuff all the time, and I'm like, I know, man. I know I can't.
I put the Waffle House clip in the video, man.
Dude, so. I haven't watched. So I went back. A buddy of mine, he just came back from Germany. He was there for about 5 years. One of my best friends, who, when he moved away, was when I was kind of getting a little bit more heavy into this, and he was the number one friend that would geek out with Saber stuff, and I spent like 5 years just being like, man, he would love this. And then he moved back, and I was like, dude, come play. And I showed him my channel, and we watched me exposing Lando Sabers, and I was just like, oh my God, I forgot about this video. And like the Waffle House beatdown, I challenged him to a duel, and the loser deletes his channel. He had like 17,000 subscribers. I had like 600 subscribers. I was like, oh my God.
That's
yeah,
fun.
A lot of people were photoshopping me and the Waffle House beatdowns and stuff, and couldn't have been more proud.
It was awesome. I had to include it in the trailer. So how old were you, Benji, when you saw your first Star Wars movie?
Oh, dude. Okay, so again, going back to my awesome family, like legitimately, I don't remember, like, you know, like my earliest memories were like watching E.T., Terminator, Jurassic Park, you know what I mean? Like RoboCop, Alien. I grew up basically like, my mom's kind of funny about this. She does not care for sci-fi movies. Loved Star Wars. She went to see it in theaters. Again, she's a huge, like, I don't like anything to do with space, time travel, aliens, whatever. I don't care. Her number one favorite movie of all time is Predator. And she loves Predator so much. And she denies that it's science fiction. She's like, no, it's real. Like, it's a real thing. And I'm like, I've been saying that ever since I was a kid.
Get in the chopper. Get in the chopper.
Dude, I had my older brother who's about he's much older than I am. He's about 10, 12 years older than I am. And when I was younger, he was a big influence. But basically my dad and my brother, they like sat me down at like 3 or 4 years old and was like, roll it. You know what I mean? Like, I watched all the original Star Wars. I went to see when they relaunched the Star Wars movies. I was in about 6th grade. We were living in Washington, and my dad was he was the captain of the cutter that he was on. And he had the Phantom Menace was coming out, right? So tickets were going insane. Everyone was screaming about, getting tickets and whatnot. And my dad had his crew like camp up at the theater for like the week and like interchange shifts to buy tickets. So like I was at like 6th grade school, just being like, I got tickets to Star Wars. You guys suck. You know what I mean? Like walking around, just strutting down the halls. I had my little lunchbox or some shit. But like my dad picked me up, dude. We drove straight there, walked around the corner. The Imperial March was playing on the speakers for the theater. And like we walked up, grabbed our tickets, handed them to like the person and walked right in. And it was so awesome. But yeah, man, my dad took me to all of the ones when they redid them in the 90s. Remember 96, 97 or whatever? They did the special edition. So I saw those in theaters. But
yeah, you're
man,
a little bit younger than me, I think, quite a bit.
I'll be 36 at the end of this month. So
I'm 51.
36-year-old boy, dude. You know what I'm saying?
I'm a 51-year-old man, and I feel it every morning, Benji. Every morning when I'm running. Every time I complain to somebody about that, they always look at me and they're like, you ain't old. And I'm like, psh. So who's your favorite Star Wars character? Favorite.
Oh, dude.
Live action, cartoon, the new series, anything.
It's just so stinking like typical. And I hate it, but dude, Vader. I mean, come on, Darth Vader, one of the greatest, if not Star Wars character, one of the greatest characters of all time. Just the whole shebang, man. Plus the suit. And then seeing him, I've just been so happy. I mean, and I really don't sport it either. That's another thing. I don't have like Vader statues or Vader t-shirts or hats, but Darth Vader. There's a lot that I do. Like some characters, I'll be like, I don't know, maybe, you know what I mean? But it always comes back to, it just doesn't beat Vader's story. None of them do, man. No matter how cool they are or how much I love them, I'm like, nah, man. Babu, the little Babu dude, close. That's a close. Him and Vader are close, dude. They're almost the same storyline, But
yeah, you got everybody. I'm kind of in the Vader. Oh no, Josh R said that's the sea mammal
with the green titty milk. Dude, listen, Josh, I have so much more love for you right now because you spell titty Tiddy. That's my favorite way to spell titty, dude. And I send it to everyone. I'm always typing titty to everyone.
Oh God,
dude, that scene though, I remember being in the theaters and just being like, "Oh, the titties."
What the hell have they done to our Luke Skywalker? Is what I was thinking. I was like, "Oh my God."
What's funny is I was actually on the trip with my dad was doing a business trip and I tagged along because he was going to be up in Seattle and I hadn't seen my brother in about like 7 or 8 years. It's been a long time. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to come with you. And then I can see my brother and I can see my cousins. And my cousin lived about 10 minutes from Saber Forge, from like the showroom. So I did all this, like, cool, I'm going to hit like a trifecta of all this stuff. Then when we were like in closer to Canada, we had to drive up to, I can't remember what town it was. He was working and, we only had a certain amount of time and we both were like, The Last Jedi is screening like down the street. And we went and it was such an interesting experience, man. I mean, like the titty milk part, like when the ships hit, like it was such a weird, like when the mom joke, we were like, something's not right. Like something's not right. Like, yeah, it was weird, man. Oh God, they're all here, dude. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so Jesse just popped in. The funny thing was like I had to go on Jesse's site today to buy T-Rose Graflex for this Saber.
I need one, man.
That's Kyberphonics T-Rose Graflex that's on that Saber.
You gotta be careful. You gotta be careful putting a Kyberphonic font on your Saber, dude. It'll catch fire because it's so sick, dude. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, that one's got the T-Rose Graflex on it, which is pretty cool. That's the only preset on that right now because the owner's like emailing me his wish list, and I'm like, oh boy, here we go.
Oh man, I got to be honest, man. When it comes to sound fonts nowadays, I have like 5, maybe 6. You know what I mean? Like I don't unless it's like a scrap flex or something that's just not canon. I know, right? Oh, that's beautiful. That's the one you did.
Yeah, that's the one that you and Jeremy inspired me to make this one.
Yeah, I remember when you installed that, dude. I loved it. It turned out so good.
Yeah, it's a lot shinier in person than it looked in the pictures. It is weathered. There's a lot of rust and patina in the copper, You know,
Oh,
you
yeah.
can see that patina in the copper there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's actually, you know, it's shiny. I mean, you can see it shine in there too. But so it's weathered, but it still looks pretty awesome. And of course, it's got, you know, the stainless steel.
That heat staining, man. I love that heat staining. You can get it every now and then. It can pop, man. It's just one of those things that, oh, this doesn't really show. Oh, there you go. I really lucked out on this one. It's like it hits such a good blue mark in the right light when you see it from far away sometimes. I don't know. You can't really see it until you get up on it, and then you're like, oh, shit, that's blue as hell.
Hang on, stand by, because I got something to ask you about. Oh, I meant to grab these to bring them in with us, and I forgot. Because I saw you guys talking about them the other night, and you know what this is, right?
Yeah, that's a 2.0 kit right there, baby, isn't it?
Yeah, well, this one's 2.5. So then that
2.5?
Yeah. But the thing is like, let me find, because I've done so many of these conversions. I'm just like all y'all. This was my favorite kit, and I
love the 2.0.
Yeah. Well, the only thing that I don't like is, you know, this was the 2.1 core.
Right.
You know what I mean? That you can make the Star Killers out of. But all these 2.5 kits I've been buying have this crap in it.
Yep.
Which, I mean, you can't make as good a Star Killer out of this core as you can the other one.
I'm not sure if they still have them. They usually do, or they pop up out of nowhere. But Vader's Vault has the 2.0 core on their site for like $14. So
still,
I don't know. Let me check. I'll check on my phone while we're chatting.
Yeah,
but yeah, the thing that sucked about it was the 2.0s. They would sell those cores, and you could pick them up, and it was like awesome. You know what I mean? Like this will be, you know, a sweet snag. But the shells, like all the Graflex tops that you can get that are you know, like a 3-cell or a replica, they don't line up with the pinholes that well. So like it's not a flush fit. So that was kind of like, you know, you kind of got to like get it as a pair, which sucked. But I mean, I made it work for some of them if somebody didn't really care much for it. But yeah, it's like the 2.0 kit, like this part right here is flush. If you took the 2.0 core from like the Vader's Vault purchase or whatever, and you bought just a random Graflex top from like TGS or what have you, these would be a little bit sunk down or to the right. I can't remember. I just remember once I saw it, I was like, oh, it is a little off.
Yeah, they don't align.
It's a bummer. But yeah, man, the 2.0 kits. I think Corran found some. They were selling some. I bought a few. This is the one I did for Sir PB, Sir Peanut Butter. Oh, did you see this one? I started doing profies because I was like, you know what? But that kill switch, dude, right there.
Yeah, I saw that.
The
lights in that thing. That's the one you called a battery killer in the video.
Oh yeah, this thing will kill it, dude. I started the video up and it was like the speaker, I couldn't tell until like I kind of stopped and I was like, that sounds blown. I was like, oh no. And then I swapped the battery and I was like, oh nope, we're just dead. But
hey Josh, really quick, I make these test blades for myself. You just make a NeoPixel blade short out of your scraps. Look at those accents. That's crazy.
I just every now and then I'm like, let's do it. And then I'm also like, you know what? I don't want to do that again. Cramming all that in there.
Yeah, but
all that in there. Man. Oh, but what I was saying was the 2.0 cores that I've gotten. Well, I don't know. Both the kits that I've gotten were fine, but they had the little knurled section right there, right, for the switch channel for the Graflexes. Yeah. The Star Killer that I'm doing for Ariston, Apollo Industries, he built it, did the whole construction. It's a beautiful Star Killer. Doesn't have that cutout, and the body is it's different. So I was like, there's apparently some 2.0s that were maybe a slightly different batch that are being sold now too. So it's like, holy cow! Like, because people, you know, they're like, we found a crate in the warehouse, and I'm like, you just found it? Like, give me that crate. Like, give me that like 2 years ago.
Well,
like,
that's where this came from, you know, because they all of a sudden TCSS said, oh, we found a bunch of Graflexes, you know, and I'm like, okay, well, I'll order them. I think Cole was the one that told me about that sale. And so I scooped 2 of them up. I still had this one at my house. So I have 3 of these kits ready to roll. Kyber Fox in there going, no kits, no kits.
Keep it down,
Because-
Cyberphonic Fonts.
Yeah, well, you know, he's gone off the deep end with Iron Destiny props there. He's total accuracy Nazi.
Dude. Cyberphonic Fonts. So Jesse has me doing his well, I got quite a few projects from Jesse actually. I've got like 20 things at all times working on for him, but he's having me do the TLJ stunt with the 2.0 kit. And I was like, dude, every time he finds a new picture, he's like, look at this. And I'm like, dude, I hate accuracy. So there's like 9 different versions. Like, just like pick one. Like, there's, you know what I mean? But I mean, I get it. I get it when you're that like into it. And then Nate spoiled him. It's like, Nate's like, this is a reproduction scratch that's exactly the right angle and diameter. And I'm just like, I'm not gonna be able to do that. Like, I can't get that crazy about it.
I was doing an
Awesome.
MPP. I was doing an MPP last summer for this guy, and I called Nate, and I'm like, "Hey, Nate, man, I need a
Nate's the guy, man.
I know he's awesome. I said, dude, I need a ESB grip guide for the MPP, and he goes, for which brand? I'm like, 89 Sabers. He's like, I've never done an 89 Sabers one. He goes, can you give me the dimensions? So I measured everything and gave him the dimensions, and he goes, make sure you cut these grips to 32 millimeters, and this one to 33 and a half. And I'm like, ugh. Like, I'm not going to get that crazy with the grips, but I want them aligned properly. But yeah,
I'm sending you the link right now, Tom. It looks like they got some.
Cool. That's awesome. So I definitely need to buy at least 3 of those cores, because I do want to cut at least one of these up and make a I want to make a Star Killer out of the 2.0 kits, because I want to be able to heat stain the whole thing.
I've got quite a few right now. So I have 2 in my possession that are mine, right? Which I redid. I did 2 different versions, long bars and short bars and all that. And then these clowns, dude. I love you, Zach. But I got 2 from Ariston, and then I'm gonna have probably, I think, 1 coming too. So I got like about 3 or 4 Star Killer 2.0 Star Killers that I'm gonna be working on the next few weeks, and it's been pretty wild. But yeah, man, I'm glad that like there's some out there now, because dude, the last couple of years there's just like such a rare thing to grab. People were throwing up 2.0 kits for crazy amount of money, and it was like, it's worth it. You know what I mean? Like at the time,
I was thinking about,
dude, I did.
And I was like, nah.
Well, I know that some people have done some scrap flexes with the 2.5s. I know Dylan. Remember Dylan Dembick, Dembick Relics?
Yeah.
He's been out of it for a while. He hasn't really been in the game for past like 2 years or something like that. But he did some great 2.5s with that. But obviously, you want to cut and expose those ribs a lot of the times. Like I did my Derelict 2.0 with that. I've done a couple different variations of scrap flexes, Star Killers. I mean,
yeah. So this is what we're talking about, everybody. So this is the old 2.1 Graflex core that came in the Graflex 2. The 2.1 kits that Benji uses mainly for Star Killers and a lot of his scrap flexes.
Oh yeah.
And this is the one that started coming in the 2.5 kits, which it's not as cool as that. I mean, obviously not as cool as that.
I mean, I've seen some people will cut the shroud up to the top, and have like a really long neck type, not like the whole neck, but like cut a little bit of it out. And I've seen some cool stuff with it, but it is kind of a bummer. I know that was it Cloud City Sabers used to take those and just take the top and mod them. So that would be not worth it in my opinion, unless you had a lathe yourself and were doing that. You know what I mean? Because it's like you'd have to cut the top part off and then make a new threaded system to the bottom. That, you know what I mean? Like you'd have to kind of, I don't know. I'm no.
How did Jeremy learn how to do those threads so fast? That's what I want to know.
Because
like he got his lathe, and 2 days later he was cutting his own threads. I'm like, come on.
He's a machine, dude. And you know what? I just leech off of him every chance I get. I'm like, hey, dude, how'd you do that? I mean, the whole reason I started doing 3D printing and everything was because he was pushing me to do it and do all this stuff, and it changed the game, dude. My last I've only been printing for about a year, and it's just been a totally different, like, just ease of mind and like, I don't know, spirit, I guess, when it comes to installing stuff. Yeah.
So yeah, well, this is the bitch. So, and this is something that, I guess people don't really talk about in the Saber community a lot. The installers don't, but this was to my crossguard, and I was so excited to get this done. And I was taking the battery out of the chassis, and when I was taking the battery out, it snapped off. And I was like, son of a bee. And, this thing just, it had this little circular thing right there that fit into the Saber, so it just stuck out like that. Well, then it broke off.
Yeah, it sucks, man. But like, it's something that
when
when you
come from UK, and I'm just like, dude, I need a 3D printer.
See, look, man, I try to give back every chance I like. What Jeremy did for me, I try to like pay forward to every single person that asked me. You know, I'll walk through. Yeah, see, straight up, and I learned all of my blade making back in the day from watching Tom's videos and stuff. But it's you know, Ariston, I got him chime in and we video chat just pretty much like this, and I walk through and kind of help. But man, when you get a printer and learn how to design and do all your stuff, and a lot of the things that I install are of my own are scraps. You know what I mean? Like things that that weren't built to fit. You know, they got different diameters everywhere. Yeah, but I'm just a huge like I push so hard. Like, dude, if you're gonna install stuff and you're gonna be working with components often enough, or even hell, it's just fun. But get the printer and start designing stuff. And it's like it just opened the hobby back up for me because it was getting stale for me for a while.
What's coming? You know, I just had 3 big Sabers that left, and we were talking about it right before we went live. And you know, I think that the Ender 3D Max is happening.
Dude, I love it. There's so many printers out there. It's like cameras, dude. Like everyone's like, what camera should I get? And people are like, buy a Red and buy this. And it's like, dude, what do you need out of the camera? Let's go with that. Because like a lot of people will say, you know, get the best. What's up, Tim? Dude, we still need to hang out, bro. Hit me up. Hit me up, dog. Tim's a good dude, man. And that's somebody, man, when I saw that's another person too that like I started with, because like obviously Sabers were like, I mean, the hobby's been really fun, but YouTube videos and stuff like that was how I used to window shop, how I used to learn. I mean, I still learn that way. But yeah, when I saw Tim and everyone do, you know, Tim and Jeremy and all these chassis designs, and I was like, dude, I'm like way behind. I need to like catch up, dude. Tim does great work, man.
Yeah, I'm you know, I still need to go back and watch Jeremy's, you know, first videos on using the stuff. I have the software, so I've been messing with the software, but
yeah, Fusion. I use Fusion 360.
Yep. Fusion 360 is what I got. I mean, I've been listening to you guys. I've been watching your videos. I got to go back and watch Jeremy's first video where he's describing the whole process. Like, I don't even know where to start. Like,
yeah, his video.
Make the core chassis, you know, how do I make this part of it, and then how do you cut out the battery compartment and all that stuff?
I'll tell you this right now, the hardest part about Fusion is just literally learning how to like navigate, like how to turn things, and how like, because I mean, for the longest when I first started doing it, and I was watching Jeremy's, he's got the 2-part videos, and I was watching that like back to back for like every step. I'd rewind like 15 seconds and be like, what's he saying? So like I learned off of like I hear Jeremy's voice every time I'm like doing measurements in my head, like while I'm building chassis. But it's just learning where to draw and how to pull. Like for the longest time, I was like, why won't it let me grab that and just do this? So like now it's, you know, my brain shuts off and I'm pretty much just listening to music and doing all that. But I can get lost in the sauce, man, and design. It takes me a long time. Like I did that stream for a chassis. It's like 6-7 hours of me just designing a chassis. I mean, it's just ridiculous. But some people are fast, some people. But I try to maximize like every single inch or little tiny bit of that chassis as I can to stand out. You know what I mean? Like, because I mean, Tim and Jeremy are just beast mode with those designs, and I'm like, shit, I gotta do something and not copy them. You know what I mean? So,
hey, Josh, I don't know anything about FDM printers. I don't know if Benji does.
Yeah, that's what the FDM printers are, like the Ender Max. It's a filament. I forget what it's called. No, I haven't printed in metal. I don't have any machines to do that. That's like some hardcore shit. But no, the FDM is filament, so it like heats up and spools up, and then there's the resin printers, which is a different process. Which Cole sent me one, which I was just totally blown away, and I learned on, and I did quite a bit of stuff, but I need to. I'll get back to it. But the attention to detail you can get from a resin printer is just insane. You know what I mean? Like. That's why I was like, I want to start doing that and implementing it to chassis, because you can get pretty crazy with the design. You get highly detailed pieces, and you know that's something I have been trying to tiptoe into, but it's a lot, man. Resin printing is a process, dude. There's a lot of shit that goes into it.
How bad does resin printing stink, though? I heard it stinks.
It smells, man. I got a station set up inside a cabinet. and like air purifiers, and like it's like once you lift the case to like pull it off the bed and like scrape it and then clean it and put it in the wash and cure station, all that stuff. Like once you open it, then you're like, okay, there's that resin smell. Like it's just gonna smell. Like even if you got a mask on, whatever, the area is gonna have a lingering smell of resin. It just has a specific smell. But
well, dang, that's cool. So I mean, we could definitely go down that rabbit hole. But that's why I've been watching y'all, and the big thing on me when I get these sabers in is waiting on chassis, either from Shapeways or even on the UK at the Saber Armory sites and ordering the cheap chassis that are on there. You're still waiting for 3 weeks to a month to get them from UK.
Well, the thing is, I'm not sure because I haven't looked in a long time because I used to get my chassis off of Etsy sellers or Shapeways or just Jeremy. I'm like, hey, do you have a chassis for a DV6? Stuff like that. But I'm not sure if KR still does it, or if I think there's a couple people who sell just the STLs. So
KR does.
Okay, so you could buy for like $5 or however much, $5-10, however much the STL is, get it and print it right behind you right now. It'll take like 5-6 hours. You know what I mean? Like you could just boom, done. So
yeah, well then you also have Sotomayor published a bunch of STLs for a bunch of his basic chassis.
My fellow dudes, those smugglers, man, they got in the Etsy stores, they got some STLs for certain hilts and whatnot.
Oh Lord, we got the Cape Fear Stormtrooper on board. That's awesome.
What up, dude?
That's pretty cool. He's a celebrity here in Wilmington. He's a member of the 501st Legion. I actually built a lightsaber for him too.
That's what's up.
It's great to see you. I'm glad Cape Fear Stormtrooper came in. That's awesome. I actually built him a lightsaber out of a tent pole.
Wait, what? Out of a what?
Yeah. He's carrying on this tent pole, and he's like, "Do you think you can make this into a lightsaber?" And I'm like, "I don't know." So he gave it to me, and I cut it and put some shrouds on it and turned it into a lightsaber.
That's why you need that 3D print skill, dude. Because then you could turn anything into a lightsaber, man. It's insane.
Yeah, well, that's definitely going to happen, Benji.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, I have no doubt. And like I said, man, it'll change your entire game. And it's just like I use it for so much more, and plus cosplay stuff, like we were talking about not long ago. Helmets.
I was watching Mando helmets today, and I'm like, oh man,
a rabbit hole, bro. It's a rabbit hole, dude. Like I have all those helmets up there. I've got Dead Space helmets over here. Like it needs to stop. Like I need to stop printing stuff. But
that's awesome.
I mean, once you start, it's too easy. It's too easy, man.
So what's your favorite color lightsaber, Benji?
All right. I'm very torn against this. I really, really love the way a cyan looks, especially on camera. Like I love that light, bright blue that almost looks white in a way. But I'm also kind of a team green guy. I'm kind of team green. I find myself all my sabers, especially because I usually do like a wood hilt type thing and a red button and some copper or some brass accents or something. So a green just like looks too good with that. So every time I do, I'm like, man, I do the same shit every single time. I'm surprised people aren't like, shut up every time I put a big red button and like some wood on something, but I can't stop. It looks good.
That's awesome. Hey, what is your favorite hilt? Your favorite hilt could be a style, could be. I know what your style is. I mean, your style is all scrappy.
Yeah,
but is it the Corran Horn or is it the scrap flexes?
All right. See, here's the thing. A lot of people, you would think it's like the Corran Horn. I love building them, and each one's different. That's why I love doing it. That's why I started that group, so like we could have builders, because you just like everyone has their own interpretation of it, and that's so stinking cool that you just have the concept to do it, and follow some guidelines, and you're good. But honestly, my favorite lightsaber is probably the Orgus Din lightsaber from the Old Republic. I made one a couple years back with the KR flagship, and I had Pete etched it. Here, I'm gonna get it. Screw it. Oh, whoops! Look at that.
I don't even know how to set up those things.
Yeah, it's like, oh, sorry, bumped the mic. It's like an avatar screen or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not 100% identical. I just made inspired by the Orgiston, right? So it's got like the wood and like the shroud, which I had Pete, a Bad Batch etching, do. I made the shroud out of shroud material, MHS shroud material.
Yeah, TCSS shroud material, yeah.
But I was looking at the flagship one day because I had a flagship for like a year or two, and I even installed it, had a leather wrap, and I left the shrouds off because I was always like, I want to get an etch KR flagship. And I could never settle on anything. And then one day I was staring at it and I was like, hold on, because it had kind of the same similarities when I was looking at it without the shrouds on. And I was like, I wonder if I could do like an Orgiston style saber off a flagship. So then I Googled to see if anybody else did, and one guy did. And I was like, it can be done. You know what I'm saying? It looks great too. So I did this one. I need to reinstall it, but it sounds really good. But one of my more better sounding ones too. This style is one of my favorites. Like, it's just elegant, and I love the Orgiston saber. Somebody actually posted one around the groups today. They did one completely, like, custom machined it, and it looks so stinking good. So I'd have to say that's probably my favorite canon style, right? Like, I love it. And then I don't know if I can really, like, specifically pick a Corran horn because they're all different. You know what I mean? Like, I have so many different that I'm like, I love one day, and then the next day I'm like, it's okay. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you just change your mind. But I'm gonna go with the Orgiston. I think that's a solid answer. I always go to that one.
Well, then the next one, which is going to key off that, and this is a difficult question. Which hilt is your least favorite hilt, or is there one that just disgusts you? Like every time you see it, you're like, that's so stupid. Why did they even do this?
Darth Raven's still in the chat. Is he still here? Is Zach here?
He might be.
All right, I got two, and they're very, very much. I mean, I think everybody kind of knows that the Sidious looks like it's very phallic. Like, I'm a firm believer that whoever the prop maker was like getting just stressed out, and someone was like, I don't care, just make a hilt for Darth Sidious. Like, I need it tomorrow. And that guy went home and was like, I'll give you a hilt, and it's gonna look like he just went home and drew up the penis head and was like, there it is. You know what I mean? Like, that's my firm belief. But
here's a penis to fly out of your arm, dude.
There you go, dude. Pull that out of your sleeve.
Up your sleeve.
Just sling that out there like spider, dude.
Freaking.
But number one, and again, I'm sorry, Zach. I'm sorry, Zach. I love you, buddy. And this is not bashing your favorite hilt of all time, but that Mace Windu is ugly as shit, dude. It looks like, I don't know. I like the Mace Windu when the grips are low profile in the animated show, because I remember seeing it in the animated series and being like, man, it looks cool. But every time I see a Mace Windu, it looks like it's got like a pine cone at the bottom end with the grips going on. You know, like they're just
too big.
They're too big. And then there's like nothing up top, so it's all like bottom heavy, and then that whatever's going on at the top, it looks like a cracked leather couch. You know what I'm talking about? Like the design of the
old stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, hey man, I'm sure there's people who think some of my sabers are absolutely hideous, and I'm like, I agree. But Zach left the chat. But I mean, it's never been my thing. I obviously the fact that it's purple was super cool, but after becoming a saber snob and really looking in on things and being like, nah, get it out of my face. I don't care for it. But that'd be it. Those two.
So, what year did you first find out about custom sabers, if you know? When did you first see them?
All right. So this is really dating me. So it was around 2013, 2012, 2013, because I was getting more into prop building, costume making, cosplaying, and I was like, I saw the Benji just got blocked. I'm sorry, dude. I don't like the Mace hilt. But I stumbled across like the Black Series and all that stuff I just searched eBay, and I was like, all those things, because I remember when they came out and like they were in like Books A Million. It was like $200 for the Force Effects. Well, you know what I mean? Like when the blades first came up. And I remember like turning it on and being like, this is the greatest thing ever. And then I saw $200 price point. I said, I will never buy this stupid shit. You know what I mean? Like I literally like just wrote it off. I was like, I'll never spend that amount of money on something like this. So I looked up sabers and I saw the ones on eBay. Again, this is like 2012, 2013 ish. And they were like $1,000 for like something. And I was like, what the hell? It's gone up. So then I kept digging and I YouTubed. And I found a bunch of different things. And then obviously Shamim, for those who are like only like 2 years into the hobby, he kind of like exploded the hobby in a way through YouTube. But for the first like 2 or 3 years, I lurked, bro. I was watching everyone's channel. So it got to about maybe like 2015, like right after The Force Awakens came out, right? That I really started to go, all right, I'm buying one. Screw it. I don't care the price point. I'll save up. And I just did my research, and I did for like a year, waited. And so when I finally got my first one, which was a Saber Forge, I got off eBay, and it was like it's purple, and I loved it. It had like the Viridian. It was so shitty. And after a while, it got kind of crappy. I bought another one, and then that one I sent off to Jordan Mall. I don't know if you remember Jordan Mall. So I sent that off to Jordan Mall, and then I sent him off another one. So I had 2 sabers with Jordan Mall for about a year or so, 2 years almost. But in that time, I was like, all right, I need to I only have one again. So I bought another one, and it got messed up. And I sent it to Shamim, and he fixed it for me for like nothing. It's such a solid thing for that dude to do. He was like, dude, some wires just came undone. I just resoldered it, cleaned everything up, and just pay shipping type thing. And I was like, wow, there's good people in this hobby. And then I got another guy who scammed some people. Is a long story. But he had one of my 2.0s. It was the first install I ever did. At that point, I did the Graflex 2.0 with the Goth crystal chamber, everything. It had a Nano Biscotti version 3. You know what I mean? Like I was so pumped that I did it. Pulled that kill key and it lit up, and I was like, I'm doing this forever. You know what I mean? Like I was so stoked, but it was ugly, and I wanted it upgraded, so I sent that out. And it was a friend. I was friends with him for about like a year or so, and he helped me like with questions and learning and whatnot. Well, he got that, and then after a while, he dipped. So I was out like 3 sabers. So it took me about maybe 6 months of messaging Jordan I was like, hey, dude, at this point, I've learned how to do all the installing. Like, I don't care about the money or anything. I know you got a lot of shit going on.
Back.
Yeah, I was like, just send it back, man, and we're good. Like, all I want is the hilt. Like, that's fine. So he sent back 2 hilts. And then, funny enough, when I was doing those conventions, this is like 3 years later, I met up with somebody who knew my friend who had my Graflex. And he showed me pictures. And because I was explaining to him the hilt, he was trying to do the whole like what's in the wallet, and I was like, this, I painted it, it's this color. Like I described everything, and he was like, holy shit, I have your hilt. Like I have it, it's in my closet. So he sent that to me, and then, so I got them all back. But I got scammed, man. So that from that, I was like, all right, I'm learning how to do all the work myself. I don't want to send sabers off ever again. So
yeah, I was kind of watching when all that was going south, and it was kind of. It was kind of sad, and I still don't know why Shamim, yanked the cord on his channel.
I don't either. I really don't. That's something that we've talked about, some friends of mine. I was like, if I stop, I'll leave my channel open forever. It's just he had so much valuable information on that channel for people to like window shop or learn, and he was a great influence.
Yeah,
he was
some of the stuff was funny.
He was just having fun with it, man, and I loved that about him. I met him at Chicago. He's a really nice guy. But yeah, all I see is Solo Sabers commenting down there. What's it say?
I don't know. Let's put it up there. What is it? Dude sent a saber off when his girlfriend was pregnant. Got saber back when baby graduated college.
Dude,
there's not bad. So Jeremy. I mean, that's why, like, dude, I take one commission at a time, and I don't take another one till I kick this one out the door. And
I only take a handful, man. I can't. Once that. Hey, where is it? Starts coming in. I go, oh shit. You know what I mean? And I don't know. Jeremy's a professional though, man. Like it clocks in, writes down his schedule and everything. I like wake up and I'm like, I'll get to it.
I mean, the cool thing was like, once I got all the parts in for this saber, I mean, it only took me a couple hours to install it.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I had to install the blade holder. I had to take all the bulb socket crap out of it, install the blade holder, and then put the chassis together. But
if I'm not customizing like with cutting pieces and weathering and prepping and all that stuff. Oh, God dang it, California. But install doesn't take me too long. I still do take probably a couple hours to wire up a board. Let's just say like 2, maybe 3 hours for me to like do the install. But I sit there and I jam out, and I like to relax while I do it. you know. And but I'd say the longest for me now is the designing point, because basically I design it, the chassis, and then I print it for a test fit, and then I take that, and then that might have some things where I'm like, okay, this doesn't work, this needs to be longer, this is too big, I trim this down, all that shit. Then I like spend a ridiculous amount of time just like making it, you know, greeblies everywhere, and I could do a lot better. But again, like I said, I like to jam out, man. I like to listen to music and just zone out for hours. I don't even know how much time goes by. I'm just in the, you know, I'm in the zone.
Oh yeah, that's the cool part about it.
It's fun.
You know, like if I'm having a, like back during the pandemic, you know, and I was the captain in the detectives division, we had, you know, a record number of homicides that year. I was getting called out in the middle of the night all the time.
I can only imagine, man.
Oh, it was bad, dude. Like if you just Google my name, you'll see some press releases and high profile news shit that I was on.
Shit.
Yeah, some of them went international and had Saber customers in Hong Kong going, dude, you're on the news here. And I'm like, oh, fuck, no. But
dude, nobody Google me, dude. I'm about to do it, but nobody else do it. Let's see what happens here.
But the funny thing is, you know, I would come back here to work on Sabers and work on another company that I was involved in, which I can't talk about that yet, but me and Jesse may have something to do on that me and Jesse have talked offline on. But, you know, I when I'm soldering and building stuff, you know, you don't worry about all the stress from your day job and all that other crap. You know, you're focused in the moment, so you get it done right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why, like, so like I have a lot of people over the years, and that's why I started doing live streams for some stuff too. But I find it really hard to do. Is like people want tutorials from me, or they want to watch me do, you know, stuff where I have to work and talk, and like it's so hard for me to work and talk, like unless you're in the room and we're like jamming out. But like for me to like, because I tried that with the first time I went live, because after well, one of my really good friends, he was a bandmate for, you know, 18 years. Passed, Adam. He had cancer for the last 4 years, and I tried to get him involved in Star Wars stuff because he was a big Star Wars fan. So I had him run all the live streams and all the like social media and shit like that, and that was my way of getting him involved. So like once he passed, I came back and I was like, oh shit, I gotta do all this all myself. So I was like, how do I go live? And I went up and I pressed live, and it just went live, and I was like, oh hey guys, I guess I'm just gonna yeah. And then I just like designed a chassis, but I found it so hard to sit there and like try and do what I normally do in like silence, because I wasn't like listening to music or something like that, and just looking over at the chats every now and then and be like, hey, I don't know, man, try gluing it. I don't know. And then to go back to like, I was so bad at it. I was like, somebody come hang out. And luckily Jeremy came, and, you know, I need somebody to read the comments while I'm doing something if we're all doing a build. But,
well, one of the Sabers that I just kicked out the door, which was a KR flagship. And, you know, I'm going to go kind of off the record here. It's on the record. Here we are live. I'm going to talk about it. That hilt was a curse.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I saw the pictures of it. That's a really good looking flagship.
It turned out awesome in the end, and he's getting an awesome Saber. But the first time he shipped that Saber to me like 4 years ago, I was unscrewing the body, and the body jammed on it.
Oh, oof.
Yeah. And this was etched by Pete's and Doval. And I'm like, oh,
so many, yeah.
God. So then I went and ordered a new KR Saber, you know, body for it. I got the old body off, got the new body on, got the threads all cleaned up so it fixed. Then I had to take the leather wrap off the original one, put it on the new one, and installed it for him. And that had a Sotomayor chassis with the 22 millimeter speaker. Remember the smaller chassis that the speaker?
Yeah, the thing with the flagship, the pommel dimensions change if you have the regular pommel. So people would do the 24 millimeter speaker like in there, and that's usually, I think it was because of the people putting crystal chambers in it.
Yeah,
like this one, this Vestige, which I need to give more love to. It's the first time I ever tried carving into like the wood, but this has the KR flagship chassis in it. That has like the master chassis or whatever, right?
Yep.
And that made it like, that makes it too long for the speaker to be a 28. So they have to like shrink down the speaker to get into the pommel. But yeah, I think there's an extension for it now, or a crystal area. It extends the flagship some. I don't know. I'm so out of the game when it comes to like hilts.
They do make some flagship extensions, which are pretty cool. I think some people are like using the coupler to actually extend it. In fact, have you seen the guy that's doing the stainless steel shrouds that have holes drilled all over them? I can't remember his name right now.
It's like perforated. I know a lot of people, because I use that perforated mesh for like putting on the back of chambers and stuff like that. I don't know.
No, he's actually it's almost like stainless steel custom Saber shop shroud material.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Like the stuff that I have. Shit, sharp as fuck. Is this stuff?
Yeah, that's it. Holy crap!
But I don't think that's what I think he's replicating it with shroud material. Which that's when I saw that I was like, homie's going the extra mile. This was a tube that it's sharp as shit because I cut and peel. It was a little bit longer because I've been using it over the years. My friend Daniel sent it to me a while back, but it's stainless steel. You can heat it, you know what I mean, and do all this like weathering to it. That's really cool. But yeah, I usually line it the back of like the Star Killer chamber, or like I'm gonna put it probably in this exposed part for that chamber. You know what I mean? So it's like I've used it for a lot of stuff. So when I saw him do that, I did a quick look and I was like, wait a minute, is that? And then I realized that I think he took shroud material and he literally just like drilled each hole into it to replicate it, because people took these and used them as body sleeves for the flagship because it will fit over certain hilts. I need to find out where to get that stuff, dude. It's cool. It's like I use it for, again, accents mostly, but I don't know where to get it from. And I know people out there have links, but man, I need some more because I'm getting getting kind of low on it. The other mesh that I use is the Hasegawa modeling mesh, the micro modeling mesh. See this guy right here? This dude right here is super, like it's for model cars, like the grill of a model car. Oh, nice.
It's copper mesh. I use that sometimes.
Sloth Furnace mentioned it at one point, and I've used it on some chambers. And when you get like diffused light to go through it, it looks so stinking cool. But it's like you can cut it with scissors. It's super flexible and shit.
Trying to,
yeah. See, look at it. This is the little scrap bit that I have, but this isn't the hexagonal one. This is just like a normal circle. But the shit's legit, dude.
I don't know where I put it, but so like I use the you know the old blade cores, this stuff that went inside the blades, the you know, you put this inside the blade tube to help diffuse this diffuser tube.
Yeah, that's what I put in this guy. I actually need to actually secure this with E6000. So these are just vents that I printed to press fit over, and underneath it is the diffusion material for so that way you don't see the pixels.
Yeah, that's freaking beautiful.
And you kind of can see the pixels, but it really mutes them.
Yeah, but that's such a cool Saber, man. When you showed that the other night, I was like, oh my God, look at that thing. You're like, this thing's a battery killer. I'm like, yeah, but it's awesome.
I thought about doing it for mine because I made this a couple of years ago, man. When the Golden Harvest V3 first came out, I had a scrap flex that I wanted to do a wood hilt with, and I had it, and I installed like the first Golden Harvest V3 because Frederick sent me a board to test it on. And I love that Saber. So it's been empty for years.
Tony chimed in. So Tony's the owner of the flagship. So then I guess I'm going to – so I didn't think Tony would be on. But
what's up, Tony?
But Tony, so when I had to buy a whole new base for that flagship the first time I installed it. And then when it came back to me the second time, I was trying to install the Saber live on a Megtooth Monday Live or whatever. And I was trying to reuse the board. It didn't go well. It was like a disaster. Ended up not being able to reuse that board and had to put a whole new board in it. I had to get new dual buttons because the dual button thing broke. And then I ordered the dual buttons from KR, and then they weren't working. And finally,
that's the life of an installer, dude. That's a straight up life of an installer.
God, man. So I went that Saber was like, I was just pouring through money trying to get that thing working. And I was like, what am I doing wrong? And then finally I figured out what was happening with the buttons, and it wasn't the KR buttons that was the problem. The chassis is so close to the inside of the hilt that
Oh.
the board was actually shorting out inside the hilt. And
Dude, I had that happen to me to a few installs before I realized what was going on.
man,
And see, here's the thing, man, and this is why I can't. There's a lot of companies when they start pumping out these hilts and they're going slimmer and slimmer and smaller, and I'm like, yo, like our components aren't getting smaller at the same time.
Yeah,
like
Vader's hull.
22, man, that we need to like. I mean, you can when we have to. Usually, if it's a really tight build, I'm like, all right, Profi or Golden Harvest V3. Those are like your best options. CFX is just kind of a little too fat for a lot of boards because, like, especially when you're designing the chassis, dude, you'll see it'll be a nightmare when you see it. You have to get basically your wall and your height of where your board can sit safely without touching the wall. Like you see in your design, you're like, no, that corner is going to hit the wall. So I need to come down a little bit. And the more you come down, the less room you have for wires underneath. And if it's super, super tight, your wire management has to be so on point. So like just getting a board to be like clear of like taking the body on and off is probably the number one hurdle. And that and the battery too. Like especially because I mean I use the spring like the springs like Jeremy does. Not like the old Keystones where you had to like just freaking smack the shit out of it to get your battery out. And the wall is what hugs the chassis and keeps the battery from being knocked loose when you go to clash it. Because I love the fact that you can pull a battery out easy on the springs, right? Like it's super simple. But if your Saber doesn't have enough clearance, you know what I mean? Oh, check this out, dude. My 2700 battery, first time doing it. None of my chargers would fit. I went to a store, like a vape shop, bought a charger, came home, and it only takes protected. So I was like, how the hell am I going to charge this battery to show this thing off? And then it hit me while I was in the store, and I was like, I don't fucking need you guys. I'm a lightsaber installer, dude. I'll just design my own recharge port, dude. This is how I charge a 21700, bro. That's it. So the thing I was saying is whenever you go to design it, you have to have like just the right amount of clearance to get that board over. And I know I install my CFX upside down, dude. I'm a piece of shit. But the battery needs to be snug in there, right? So like this whole diameter needs to be flawless to the body. So when this goes on, it needs to just barely, you know what I mean? Like it needs to, like your ideal chassis removal should be like, you know what I mean? When you pull it off, there should be like a, which Albert Flores' mom knows all about, dude.
Oh man.
But yeah, the problem with that is with the battery pushing it up, if your board cradle is not well done, then your wires push that up. Then when you go to push this guy on, you come into those problems. So like, yeah, man, you got to freaking, it's something that you play back and forth with. Love to say this.
Well, I wanted to, really quick. Tony was on there. It was his flagship, and he sent it to me because the chassis got broke, and his kids are getting older and they're being rough on him. But actually, Tony, it was a good thing that chassis broke. That was the old 22 millimeter speaker chassis. So you got the new Sotomayor chassis with a 28 millimeter speaker, so it's better. But a lot of the things he just didn't know about that Saber that he sent it to me to install. But I just shipped out him a bunch of Sabers, so I put all his videos, on the ULC. Tony has been a top guy for me. He was one of my first customers ever, and
I'm repeat, man. I've gotten to the point now where I've got so many people that keep me busy, like Jesse, sending me like 20 projects, man. He's on my address is on speed dial for him, but like I've been so fortunate to have repeating customers like you're talking about with Tony, that I found such a great like area to be in. I love that.
It's getting to the point like Bobby Susanbach even said something, because like when you look at my YouTube channel, it's like everything's sing. And Bobby's like,
name over and over and over again.
Oh yeah. Bobby's like, man, he needs to show his collection. I'm like, yeah.
Look, that's something that I think is probably the most disappointing for me, is that like you don't really see the Sabers that you do that often out in the wild. You know what I mean? Like usually when I like, it's kind of weird. I like to make a friend in the process of the installs that I do with people. So like I like to see the whole like, hey, it came in the mail. Like I love it. It looks great. A video of them like turning it on, swinging it around. I like to see the the joy in the process, you know, that's my present. And like a lot of times I'll send it back to people and then they're just like, no word for a while. And I'm like, hey, tracking says it's there. You got it. And they'll be like, oh yeah, I got it. And I'll be like, oh, like, you know what I mean? So like, it's such a joy to see like your work out there, but it's something where I'm like,
well, Tony sent me pictures of his
I'd
wall.
love to see people's collections, man.
You know, Tony sent me pictures of his wall. And the funny thing about Tony, I hope his wife's not watching.
Hey, Tony.
Tony had sent me a couple of DV6s, and I was like, dude, I already did a DV6 for you. He's like, yeah, I want another one. He goes, I tell my wife that there's the same saber.
Oh my god.
Like,
Dude, that's
what I was like.
The same saber.
Yeah,
dude.
I'm like Tony, dude. Yeah, this is where I was like, what's going on? Because I thought like this is how cool this hobby is, though. I mean, here's this guy, and at the time, I hope Tony doesn't mind me talking about this, but Tony was living in Hong Kong.
His wife's watching the stream in the other room, like that's son of a bitch.
I knew it was the same saber. He's got like 4 of the same thing, and you know, I was like, Tony, man, I already did one of these for you. He goes, yeah, but my wife doesn't know the difference because they both look the same or whatever. And I was like,
that's improvise, adapt, and overcome right there. Hell yeah, Tony.
Yeah.
Live your best life, dude. YOLO.
So here's Tony. He's over there in Hong Kong at the time. He's since fled Hong Kong, but he was over in Hong Kong. And I was thinking, this is when I started realizing how small the world really is. And I mean the whole world, not just the U.S.
Yeah.
You know, because I guess I'm kind of, you know, country centric because I'm from the United States. But here's this guy who lives on the other side of the planet, you know, in a country that speaks a totally different language, and he's doing the same crap that some American would do.
Dude, I'll never forget. I've talked about this to a few people who are in like video production or just artists or whatever. And like, it's so crazy to like, if we could go back just like, you know, 20 years and be like, yo, dude, at some point, like, it's going to be pretty easy to be some form of like famous. Let's just be real. Some form of like, when I say famous, I mean like you can go somewhere you've never been and somebody might bump into you and go, oh, hey, dude, what's up? Like, I watch your shit. You know what I mean? Like, that's so strange to think about because it's just easy. It's easy now because everybody's got a platform.
That happened to me in Disney World, Benji. I was there. Yeah, because there was a Saber meet up there and I didn't even know about it. And it was some Reddit group that I didn't even know. I posted some pictures of it. And so we're sitting there in Galaxy's Edge in Florida. And this guy sits down next to me and he's got a lightsaber, but it's not like a cheap Galaxy's Edge saber. You know what I mean? It's got you can tell it's custom.
Yeah.
And I was like, is that a custom saber? And he's like, yeah. He goes, I see you got some custom sabers too. And I'm like, yeah. And then he looks at me and he goes, Are you Meg-2 Sith?
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah,
that's such a cool thing. Like that's probably one of the things that because dude, for the longest time, I mean, okay, so I've been doing sabers for like 8 years now, right? Somewhere around there. Really installing like 6, let's just say. And I used to never care to like I post pictures of my hilts and I would troll the groups. You know what I mean? Like I just would goof off. But like once all those guys, I mean, I've been watching your channel since like back in the, you know what I mean? Like I remember, dude, I'll never forget because I had like seriously, and I'm gonna get to a point. I know I'm kind of going a little snaking around, but I had like 20 hilts that were tri-cree with like nano biscottis, right? And I remember stumbling across your channel and seeing Teensy Saber with like a NeoPixel, and I just looked over my collection and I went, "Fuck!" I was like, "Damn it!" I gotta like now I gotta like redo all this shit that I've been working on for years. But that's how long I've been doing it. But once they stopped, once like you know, like Shamim left and the 2 Jordans, and there was a moment where there wasn't really too much Saber content, and I was like, dude, I got like 50 lightsabers. Like, fuck it, I'll start a channel and I'll start showing them off, and we'll see. And like my first video is awkward as shit. I'm like, what's up? I didn't even show the blade. I'm like, hey, this is what I did. Like, it's such a bad video. First videos are always terrible. But it's crazy to think how because I didn't really want to get out there. Like I'm a social person. I'll talk to anybody, but I don't take myself serious enough to be like, you know what I mean? Like to like puff a chest out and like be a like some kind of like voice to be like listened to in like a hobby. I'm like, when people talk to me, I'm like, shut up, dude. Like just shut up. Like whatever, bro. Like but to see that like reach is cool. That's what like, dude, I have met some of like since starting the channel, I have like Jesse. I knew Jesse a little before Nerfherder Customs. We were talking about the other day. We've been friends for like 4 or 5 years, which is just weird.
That's cool.
But like the friends that I've made because I started my channel and because I started Nerfherder Customs, I guess, was insane. And I really wish I would have done it like 4 years earlier. You know what I mean? Like my channel has only been like 3 years now, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's crazy the reach that it does. So back to Dylan, and this is where I'm wrapping up the whole like what your channel and what your hobby and your passion can do. He messaged me one night and he was like, yo, dude, this is gonna like make your night. And I was just like expecting some horrible picture of Jeremy or some shit. I was just like, what'd you do? You know, like one of those things where because Dylan was like a little brother in a way. But like we bickered back and forth like brothers. But he was like, I went on a Tinder date in like he was in Anaheim, I think Anaheim at the time. He was living in California, where he's from. He said, I went on this date, we got pizza, and we're all talking, and it was going really well. And of course, we start talking Star Wars because he's, you know, he had tattoos or whatever, and he's like, yeah, I do sabers, and like he showed her all his pictures of sabers. So this girl that he didn't know and got on Tinder was just like, oh, I love lightsabers. I'm on this group and that or whatever. And he was like, oh, really? And he was like, check out these sabers that I got installed by my buddy. And he showed her the phone, and she goes, you're friends with Benji? She was like, I'm a subscriber to Nerfherder Customs. And I was just like, what the fuck, dude? Like two random people like on the other side of the United States meet up, and they have a common thing, and it's, you know, sabers, and it just happens to be like we could all three be having a conversation.
But it's crazier than that, Benji. I mean, I've got customers in Australia.
Yeah, dude. I had a dude in Romania. I was like, what?
South America,
yeah,
Asia. Dude. And, you know, they're like, you know, when all that crap was happening in 2020 during the pandemic and I was in the international news, you know, it was crazy. And they were seeing it, and I was like, oh, yeah. Crap, you know.
I love the hobby, man. I've only met there's seriously like maybe only one or two people that I'm like, block. I don't need to. Okay, you're just a negative influence.
Hey,
but I mean, 99% of the people I meet are awesome, man. 99% of the people.
Cole got this for me. Cole got this saber for me, and I wanted Cole to see it in action.
Oh, did Cole get that? Man, that Cole.
Yep. So this was one of the KROR cross guards, and nice. You know, I did the weathering. You're not going to be able to see the whole thing.
Oh, you did the weathering? That's beautiful.
Oh yeah, I did the weathering on it, and I did the heat staining on the emitters, and you know, just trying to make it look nasty like TFA.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, Cole sent this to me, and you know, this is the one the chassis broke in. So the chassis I was talking about earlier. That
is that the one?
Okay,
yeah, that's cool.
And then I had to wait for another month for the new chassis to come in, but now, you know, now she's.
You know, I have not done a Kylo hilt.
They're hard, man.
I've never done one. Well, I mean, I think one day I'll get one. One day I'll get one for myself. But I'm a big, like, I push this a lot, especially people who ask me about installing and like, you know, because some people will be like, hey man, I kind of want to start offering it too, or whatever. You have any tips and any of that stuff? And I have to do that whole like, man, I do not feel comfortable ever taking on a commission as a learning process. So because I've never done, and I mean, I have, you know, to an extent done that, you know, with the Count Dooku's like curved hilts. But in my mind, I was like, it's not that bad, you know. And I was designing chassis at the time. I was like, I can take this challenge on. But what I'm saying is, at the beginning, I was like, I never bought a Kylo hilt for myself. I never practiced on one for myself. So the years went by, and I just never got a Kylo hilt. And I was like, and then it hit me. I was like, I've never installed one of those before.
Well, some of them were better than others. Like the initial MRs that I was doing, you know, they were difficult because you had to hone out the emitters to take a 1-inch blade or a 7/8 blade. Then you had the Corbanth V2s that came out, and they were
with like the magnet doors or whatever. Yeah,
they were horrible for installing. Those things were a nightmare. I think I built 3 or 4 of those. They were a nightmare. The KROR was a little bit more of an enjoyable experience. The switch is a little finicky on it. You know,
yeah, you're right. There really have been quite a few iterations of that hilt. I mean, it was.
But the funny thing is that hilt is in demand, and you know, I guess so this is why Cole.
Gosh, don't you bash my Mountain Dew Zero, bro?
So Cole, what was happening was KR did that run of KROR sabers, the cross codes, you know, this one,
right?
everybody was like stalking me. I remember me and Jeff Birch, we were messaging each other back and forth, countdown 10 minutes, dude. And I'm like, I know.
You're
And
just
we're all-
refreshing the page, waiting to buy. Hope it doesn't sell out, dude. I've been there a bunch of times.
Well, it did, and the page was locking up, and none of us.
I remember that. I remember that.
It was a debacle.
I felt bad for Cal, man. I was like, oh.
Well, the problem was I don't think Cal, because I'm in the 501st Legion as a Kylo, so I know how much in demand these Kylo hilts are because there's just not enough of them because the MR sabers are just junk. They're absolute teetotal.
Oh
junk.
yeah, I know people were trying to get the conversions.
But do you remember how the Phoenix Props V2 was worth like $2,000?
And it had like, didn't it have like the quillions were a little bent in?
I think that was the Corbanth V1, but the Phoenix Props V2, that was pretty much the go-to saber. Nobody had built one since then, and there was this huge demand for cross guards. And when Cal came out with that, the whole Kylo Ren community, and I know because I'm in it,
Jumped on it.
yeah, they were freaking out. And then I didn't get one, and I was visibly mad on the internet. I think I posted something that I was frustrated, and then Cole ended up sending me that, and I had actually found out that Corbanth had bought like 300 of them or something like that, and I actually got one from Corbanth, and I'd ordered that, and then Cole had sent me one, and Jeff Birch. And
Oh man, like, Jeff, I haven't talked to Jeff in a while, man.
Jeff's dropped off the face of the earth. He shameemed his YouTube channel again.
Oh.
Yeah, and
I mean, I get it. His reasoning behind it was, I was like, all right, I respect you for it, because I think I asked him at one point. I was like, hey man, like what's up? What's the deal with the getting rid of your channel? And he was like, dude, I would feel bad if like people were commenting and there was no response. And I was like, you turn off the comments, and he was like, yeah, but that's kind of still the same thing. And I was like, yeah, I guess so. Yeah. So I felt like he was like, you know what, I don't know, but.
Well, I hope to have Jeff on. I mean, right now, I'm sure he wants to maintain a low profile because of what's going on in Ohio. And I
saw that too. First person I thought about, I was like, man.
Yeah, well, that's not Jeff's fault. I mean, but the funny thing is I feel his pain, because of my profession exactly hasn't been in a good light in the last few years. Dude, so it's kind of like, somebody does something crazy in California or Oregon. Next thing you know, anybody that does what I do for a living is an asshole.
Dude, straight up, man, that was my first thought a lot of the time during, the crazy COVID years and on, because it was like, it was such a like not, you know what I mean? Like I just felt bad for everyone who was getting crazy. I was like, man, there's a lot that's wrong, obviously, but like you can't just go and attack everything. It's like, nah, it's scary, dude. Because there was a lot of people in my town that were just patrolmen sitting in their car, and people walk up and shot them, just do it. It's just like, God, that's so terrifying.
Yeah, it was nuts. It was, not a good time to be a police officer. So now, Jeff, now we're talking about Jeff. He's got me thinking about some other stuff here to ask you. What soundboards have you used?
Oh, okay. All right. I started. I have to do that.
Look at that, dude. New and hot.
Is it brand new? That's a pristine. Is that a pristine Nano? Which version?
V4.
Dude, that's all I needed back in the day when the Nano Biscotti version 4 came out. You shut up.
Check it out.
Oh my God.
That's right, Crystal Focus 8.
Here, hold on. We're doing it. First of all, here's my tester for speakers and switches. The Prism V4.
Yeah.
With some tape to hold down the SD card. Because it's all messed up. This is actually still a pretty good Prism. Oh, sorry. This is actually still a pretty good Prism 5, 5.1. Check it out, dude. Let me bust open the Holy Grail here. The graveyard, dude. Let me bust open the graveyard real quick, dude. So I have a bunch. I was doing this the other night, I think. Oh, see, I never installed an Igon. Any seaboards, I never touched them. I got like 5 or 6 Nano V3s and V4s in here. But check this out, dude. I tore out and reinstalled and rebuilt and redid everything for this MHS Saber, and came to me with the Petite Crouton, dude, the first one.
Oh, the Petite Crouton.
Look at the Petite Crouton.
That's awesome.
I don't know who installed it. I'd love to know. It's not a bad install by any means. It's not like I'm sitting here going, oh, your wires are terrible. But this is back when the standard before, of course, Cole said before the Empire. This was back, the day. This was back when some hot glue to hold it down and some rat nest wires, and everyone was like, looks great. Like everyone, like back in the day, back before people started to be like really holding your wire management in your install game up. But look at all that, like look at all these resistors that are like added to it, man. Good God. It worked when I got it. Holy shit. It's crazy, man. I went okay, so
this is the crystal focus 8 that I peeled out of Tony Singh's Graflex. And I was like, oh my God.
I save a lot of these though for like props that I might use something in. Because like my chainsaw, my Evil Dead chainsaw, I put a CFX in that baby. You know what I mean? But like there's some blasters that I could probably put a prism in, just oh, is that the Teensy Saber?
Yep.
Holy shit. I remember you had to sandwich it and I was like, I'll wait. You had to do that. I was like, I'll wait. I can't. But I do okay, so I was a Plector dude, right? A Plector fanboy. It's just what I learned on. It's what I did the most. So, is that a power extender? Or is that a color? Was that a color extender?
Yeah.
God, holy shit!
New in box, Bo.
Dude, save them, bro. I've got. Check this out, dude. You save that kind of shit, so that way you can. You're basically like the historian of it, right? Look at this.
This is what needs to be in the Saber museum.
Look at Solo Saber's chassis right there, dude. Bought from him, dude. Is he still here?
Yeah.
Look at you put his Solo Sabers. I got 2 of these. But okay, so I did the first that I ever did was the V3. I repaired a speaker. And that's where that joke came around. I was joking about how I repaired a speaker the first time. And I was like, I'm a lightsaber god. And I was just joking about that. I don't really think I'm a god. People out there who think I'm a god. They think I'm serious. That's the one thing that about like joking around is I do a lot of sarcastic shit. And a lot of people think I'm serious. So like, I bet there's a ton of people out there who are just like, man, that guy sucks. He's so full of himself. He thinks he's a god. And I'm like, dude, I was making fun of myself repairing a speaker. But I did that, and then I did a couple Nano Biscotti version 3s. Then the V4 came out, and I updated to that. And then I went to the Prism, and I was like, "Oh, this is all I ever want, all I ever needed." And then I went to CFX. I jumped all the crystal focuses and went straight. As soon as CFX came out, I was waiting. I was waiting for that board to come out, and it was like a year or 2 behind Profi, right? So I bought 2 Profis when they first came out, and they sat for like a year. I watched all your videos and all your tutorials and everything, and I was like, I'm gonna do it, and I just never got around to doing it. So I ended up selling those 2 off. I did a couple Versos when they first came out, and then I didn't Tricrease. I got a bag of Tricrease, dude.
I got all this stuff for Albert. Look at all this, Albert. Albert's like jealous, man. Look at this.
Dude, I got so many heat sinks from the Saber Forge Scratch and Dent, and I love it. A lot of people are like, oh man, you have like, I don't want a bag of heat sinks. And I'm like, I do. I use them to make blade plugs and crystal holders and all this shit. Like, are you kidding me? It's the perfect diameter to make your, you know what I mean? Like, it's already a 1 inch or 7/8 inch. Perfect.
This is a Necree, new in the bag, never been soldered on.
Dude, I would love to dig through your office, bro. You know what I mean? Like, I would love to be in there just kind of going through the records. Look at that. I used to hate doing Tricrease, dude. Albert still does them, dude. Albert is the Tricree king, bro. Go get your Tricree installed. Somebody did that, posted on the ULC like a couple weeks ago. They were like looking, they were like inquiring an installer that does Tricree or whatever. And like, dude, all of us, there's like 20.
Albert.
Everyone's like, pretty sure Albert's your guy. Like, we were jokingly adding on more Albert suggestions. But yeah, I did that. I did the Verso. I thought that would be a board I would use. I just hovered around CFX because it had everything I wanted at the time. And I didn't do a Profi build until really like a year ago. You know what I mean? Like, I have Profi Sabers. Like, I bought them. And I had Joe Wren was the first install I ever had that was like I sent out after being burned. But Joe's a good dude. He does all the Star Killers.
Yeah, Hernandez.
Yeah, Hernandez. This is when he was taking installs. And I think I don't know if it was a trade or something, but he hooked me up. And he installed one of my Graflex. I still have an 89 Graflex. And that was my first Profi Saber. And this was about probably 5 years ago, close to 4 or 5 years ago. And I liked it. It's just like I was a sucker for that deep sleep that I've been so spoiled with from all my years of Plector boards. But yeah, man. I mean, I love dogging on people who are like Profi elitists, who are like every soundboard throw it in the trash if it's not a Profi. And I'm like, I love to pretend to like dog on them or whatever. Profi is awesome, but a lot of people are like, you hate Profi. And I'm like, I don't hate it. There's pros and cons to every board, man. Every board, I'm like, and it comes down to some builds too. Like I was saying, like sometimes I'm like, okay, this one gets a Profi. Like this needs a Profi for specific needs. You know, like whenever I have an external kill switch idea, I'm like, all right, Profi time. You know what I mean? And I have quite a few Profi sabers. People don't know that. And then once the price dropped back down to 50, I'm like, I'm a Profi guy. I'm like, what's up, dude? I haven't bought a CFX in a while.
Well, the funny thing and the downside to Profi happened last night on a live stream, and it was on Space Windu. It was actually on Mundo's channel, but it was Space Windu, Jedi Gabe,
right.
And man, they were really struggling with a config file. They got error messages.
Dude,
Gabe
that's the
was
worst.
frustrated.
That is the worst.
Gabe's speaker ends up coming out of his saber, and all this was like live, dude. It was like a train wreck happening live, and I'm like,
I've had.
You know, I was typing in there.
Man.
Sometimes it's better to push away, set it down,
come back.
Yeah, I mean that was like when I was building Tony's saber. You know, I sat that down and walked away from it so many times, and then finally I was able to realize what had happened to it. Oh, Benji.
Sorry, it's that Waffle House Wi-Fi, dude. Am I back?
Oh yeah, you're back.
All right.
Waffle House Wi-Fi.
It's that Waffle House Wi-Fi, dude. Everyone's using it. But it's like, yeah, there's some people who get really mad and frustrated, and they're just like, they're struggling, and they're like, I just can't. And I'm like, dude, what you need to do is just walk away. Just sit down and walk away. And I don't listen to my own advice, dude. I spent 45 minutes the other day hanging out with Jeremy, screaming, trying to pass 2 wires through a channel, and I was just like, this sucks. And Jeremy's like, you got it, dude. But yeah, man, you just walk away, dude. Like coming back with a fresh like pair of eyes, relax a little bit, and then try again. But dude, I've had some of those weeks.
The bad part about Profi.
It's the config for me. Because I will build a blade style, I'll build all this stuff, I'll get everything going, and then it's like error, and I'm like, oh, you know what I mean? I was so confident, and then I just have to go through and dig and figure out what was wrong. But that's why I liked CFX for the longest time. It was my number one go-to, was because I mean, it was about the same price as Profi for a while there. But it it allowed me to, I'm so simple, dude. I'm so basic. And that's another reason why I don't know a lot of that shit. Like, dude, when some people are like, how do you do this and that and this, and I want it to be all crazy, and I'll have to learn it, because I just want specific lights to come on and turn off, and we're done. So CFX was the way for me to go, because I just pop that SD card in, add a couple fonts, put my config settings, and then just run and gun. You know what I mean? So it's like, I didn't really want to tinker with it. Building it was the most tinkering, but actually enjoying it is like, all right, put some sound fonts on, swing it around a little bit, and put it away. So,
well, you know what I liked about the CFX is, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, Profi can do unlimited like neopixels and crazy stuff with neopixels.
Yeah, that's
but on the CFX, you know, I still love 0603 LEDs, and the CFX has those 0603 LED pads, and you can make those things do really cool stuff on the soundboard and away from the soundboard. But I guess at the same time, you know, the argument against that is, well, you can do all that with neopixels too, you know, especially now with these 1515s and the 2020s. I mean, these strips are getting like crazy what you can do with them.
I love it. I love seeing it. But I go Profi for those. Like whenever I'm like, all right, I'm going to do a lot of accents and all that stuff, I just go Profi because it's simple. To me, it's simpler. I haven't tried with CFX to really like get crazy. If I use accent LEDs for CFX, it's like 1 or 2. You know what I mean? Like I don't really do like this build right here that I'm going to do. This is a personal speeder for me. I have 2. I'm waiting on ones to come in, but I'll have 2 accent. The bezeled ones are red and a green, and they'll just blink back and forth. That's all I need. The chassis on this one, reason why I went with that was because the chassis on this one's going to be extremely small. So this is the tester. I have the real one printing up, but it's like you just have that much length. I slid the board up some because the battery has to sit in here. And then I mean, like, this is a small speeder. So like, I was like, all right, CFX with 2 little lights, we're done. Because I originally was like, all right, I'm going to put all this stuff in here and it'll be really cool. And then sometimes I get to where I'm like, you know what? I just don't want to deal with all those extra wires. I just don't. Like, that's for fun. That's for me for some point in time. So I was like, screw it, dude.
Well, I was thinking on the Star Killer, and then I went amok, and I put a bunch of freaking pixels.
You can, dude. That's why I'm like, there's just some things where I'm like, no, man, I don't need it. And then I'll sit there and go, but now's the time. I'm like, now I've got so much space I can do it with.
I've got so much room for activities.
Dude, right? That's why I went crazy with that freaking Profi Scrap Flex, because if you use the Scrap Flex body from the core band, yeah, there you go.
And then I'm even doing sub blades. Jeremy's got me digging, the sub blades that are doing different stuff. While you
he talked to me about sub blades and all that stuff, and I'm like, hold on, dude, I ain't ready for that kind of headache.
That's crazy.
Yeah, dude. See, look, that's it. That's all I need. Give me a little dance. You know what I mean? And then dances. We're good.
Are you a Jedi? I suggest you try it again, Luke. Kylo Ren. I suggest you... It's just bad. It's just bad.
Vader's assassin.
There we go. So there's like the Vader's assassin fun on that one.
It's fun. I love Profi 4 when you're getting crazy with lights, man. Straight up.
Vader's assassin.
And this one, this one's like a display mode. So even the pixels in the Saber head are going, in idle, which is pretty cool.
Dude, what's crazy is so the CFX, I saw Stephen Powell. I saw his video for his update, because a lot of people were complaining about CFX sound menu, and I agreed. I was like, I don't care much for a sound menu, but the new update, you just press the power button and clash, and you go to the next font.
Oh, that's cool.
Check it out. Check this guy out. Right? So Steven hooked me up with his config, but yeah, you just press next font, next font, next font.
Now on the stock Profi prop file, I think that's how you advance fonts too. You just bump the Saber, it goes to the next font. Now that's if you use Frederick's prop file, but if you're using Fernando's, I don't think that works. Yeah,
there's so many. That's the other thing too. Is again, like I said, there's so much stuff that I'm like, I don't know if I want to.
It gets complicated.
I'm like, I don't want to. It's like every couple months you got to relearn some whole new I'm like, come on, man. Like I love the ingenuity and the updates and everyone making every Saber better all the time. But a lot of times I'm like, oh God, I gotta what? I gotta sit and test some shit out, spend a couple hours reading through manuals.
It was painful watching that video last night, and I was trying to help him, and Jedi Arms Dealer was trying to help him, but it was just that the video was like a train wreck live. You know how some of those live videos turn into train wrecks? I mean, that's why
every time I'm on one, dude. Every time I get on.
Come on now. But that's why people tune in. I mean, people want to see the train wreck. That night I had that massive fail on Tony's lightsaber on his flagship. Dude, it was a huge fail, huge train wreck.
It happens, man. It happens. Jeremy's had it happen once or twice where we did install. He installs it in like an hour, and then he's like, all right, something's not working or something. He's like, and he'll come back later. So, I mean, it happens to the best, man. It really does. And, dude, those guys, Space has been – that's another person that I was a huge fan of back in the day, man. I've been watching Space's videos for a long time. Super cool dude, man. When I finally got to meet him, too, he came on a live stream a while back, and it was awesome. Kind of like when you jumped on, I was like, oh, it's Tom. And I was like, it's Tom, you guys. I was like, I know this dude. I watch him. It's funny to, that was another reason for the channel when I made it, is I got to meet a lot of my, Saber heroes. You know what I mean? That's been pretty cool. Okay, what about the chat? Let's see.
Oh Lord,
Bobby the
TMI Cole.
No,
TMI,
dude,
Bubba.
we were Carter ate some corn on the cob on some stream we were hanging out, and he left the screen off or whatever. And I was like, he's over there eating 7 corn on the cobs right now. We're just long ways, dude, just sticking it in butter, just sitting on his recliner.
Awesome.
Wait, going back up to Bobby. I think Bobby had the CFX. So this is something I'll always tell people about the CFX. Before the Crystal Focus 10, the CFX, the CF9, they were $150 for every CFX board. So in reality, CFX dropped. It did drop to 70 something at one point.
I think that was because of Profi. I think Profi basically forced them to reduce the price.
Yeah, I mean, I get it.
The NEC boards and the Plector boards, I think they were all overpriced a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. And then the ship shortage happened, and then Profi went up to 120 or 50 or whatever, right? And
Yeah,
so
it was
like that,
crazy.
that's been fluctuating for a while. So for a minute, for me, the cheapest, best option, again, for me, my personal preference was CFX because I was dropping like $75, $80. Now they brought it back up and it's like almost close to 100. And I'm like, oh, I'll get a Profi, $50.
Yeah, it's kind of weird watching how that's been in flux. You know, and a lot of people ask about the Profi board 3.7. I do have a Profi board 3.7 lightsaber. The board works. It was fine. I mean, it's my flagship. Stand by. Hope y'all don't see my shorts.
Nah, dude, let's see it. Bust out some of that thigh, dude.
So, you know, this
oh,
is
nice. Yeah.
Oh yeah, so that's my flagship that the 3.7's in, and it's got a lot of Sotomayor stuff. You know, it's got the shine through glass eye, blah blah blah. But this saber, the cool part was, oh, it doesn't have a battery in it. Let me throw a battery in it here real quick. But you can't see the Profi board 3.7 because it's, you know, it's buried inside the chassis. It's the same. This is the same chassis that Tony Singh's Profi board was in. You know what I mean? But I got all kinds of paper insulating the board in there. To keep that from happening, and that's what it should have just been smarter on.
Or just use some of that. What's that tape that everyone uses? I forget the name of it because I've never used it.
Yeah, it's that.
It's not Teflon. What is it? Not Teflon, but it sounds something like that, right? I can't remember.
But the cool thing about Profi board 3.7 is, and I got the volume turned down a little bit, and I don't know if y'all are going to be able to hear this.
I blow my speakers, dude. Turn it up.
I need to turn the volume up.
Battery level.
Oops, wrong one.
7 volts. Enter
Captain.
volume
Thank you, Tim. Captain tape. Captain.
Maximum volume.
Yep, that's it.
Volume menu end.
Okay, so the big difference is once you ignite it, like if you used to spam the blasters.
Yeah, it wouldn't hit all of them.
Yeah, well now.
Oh, so they all hit now. Yeah.
No, I'm not hitting the flash hard enough.
Yeah,
you can
tape,
spam the saber
plastic dip,
and it just.
Got the chat. The chat's up in arms, man. What is this?
I don't know what's going
what
on.
kind of tape? Captain tape. It said duct tape, plastic dip. Just use hot glue, zip tie. You guys are a bunch of fucking fools. Dude.
But at any rate, yeah, the Profi board 3.7 got delayed. They're a mess.
So what's hit me up with the with the 411, as the cool kids would say, info on the next Profi board, because again, you gotta I've been out of it when it comes to like Saber runs, companies, all this. Like I kind of stepped away from a lot of stuff, and I've just been kind of installing things, and I'm still on old operating systems. Like I'm not updating. So like, what's going on with the new Profi that's coming? What are the pros?
Well,
give me the sauce.
I don't think there's any boards coming. That's the bottom line. So the Profi board 3.7 or Profi board, you started saying like Birch, you're saying Profi board.
Profi. This is wow.
It's all right. Wow. I get Birch a hard time. I'm like, what are you from Canada, Birch?
He does that. Yeah, he got me saying Profi for a while, and I was like, I don't know what I say now.
But the funny thing is like, this saber might be one of 10 Profi board 3.7s in the whole country, because I don't think that board's ever going to production, which sucks because it was awesome. There's just the processor's not being made. The business that made the processors on that board went belly up during the pandemic.
No.
Yeah, so the processors aren't available for that board. So Frederick's having to redesign the whole thing. And I think he got really frustrated because he put so much effort into that. But what he's doing right now is he's building a board called the M2. Now, the M2 is going to be basically like Profi board light. It doesn't have an onboard booster for the amplifier, so it's not going to be as loud.
Oh.
It only has 2 LED pads, but this board is like 1/4. It's basically a micro USB port all the way through. So it's very narrow and it's shorter than the Profi board. So very, very tiny
board.
Well, yeah.
Oh, that's what's up.
Yeah, it's so small it'll fit inside of a 7/8 inch blade.
Wow.
Now he's just building that for other props and stuff, but I think that's his focus right now is the M2 board, and I think it's probably going to be a while before he, before he redoes the 3. Or goes to some other design from the 3.7. But I think what we're looking at is what he's doing on this board is onboard memory, no more SD cards.
Oh, so you just USB hook it up?
He's fed up with SD cards and SD card corruption and SD card slowness, and he's just going to go with onboard memory. And this M2 board will be the first experiment to see if that works.
Huh. I'm down for the size thing. That sounds good. The one thing I did love about Profi is I loved the sound quality, the amount you can push it, and I liked. Everyone knows me. I'm a fool when it comes to pushing that volume up, dude. I got a 24 in that scrap, and I put it. It's kind of quiet. I was like, let's see how far I put it to like 3,000 or whatever, and I was like, sounds okay to me. But like, I love how you can push them, and they sound really good at a certain volume. I found, honestly, I know people probably think I'm just crazy, but I'm at like 2,000 or 2,200 on most Profi sabers that I have, and I'm like, that sounds good to me. I know the longevity is probably not good, but sounds good to me, man.
Yeah, only the M2, Josh. The M2 is not really a Profi board. It's basically using the Profi OS, but it's not a Profi board. So Profi 2.2 is going to be the board we're going to have for a while, and there's nothing wrong with a Profi 2.2
board, man. That's a good board.
I think the worst thing about Profi 2.2 is that it doesn't have deep sleep.
Albert runs his elites at 3,000. That's why I love you, Albert. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I know. I think I'm running mine at like 2,400, 2,500. This crossguard is like crazy loud.
Yeah. Smart, man.
That thing.
My scrap tech on a CFX is probably my loudest, but it's loud in the sense of it's obnoxious to the ears. Doesn't sound the best, but it's definitely the loudest.
Of course, I got the volume turned down.
I didn't realize it until I don't bust it out that much, but my CFX scrap tech is at like 100 volume. All my CFXs I run at 100. But when we were at the meetup and we were in the kitchen late at night or whatever, because Jesse and Carter and all of them, they were like, "What's your loudest?" And I was like, "I think it's the scrap tech." And so I put it in, and we're in like the kitchen, so it's like echo or whatever. But I turn it on, and all of us are just like, "Nah, dude, like stop!" Like it's like stop. Like, it was obnoxiously loud, and I was like, "Oh, I might need to turn that one down." I never noticed, but yeah, I love to push them, man. But that's the thing. I think somebody. All right, look, I'm sorry, people out there in the community. I'm just trolling. Like whenever somebody was like, because they were talking about blowing speakers. And I was like, I'm here for a good time, not a long time or whatever. I'll swap out, like, because they made it this whole like ordeal where it's like, if I blow a speaker, it's a big ordeal. And I was like, nah, for me, dude, I'm trying to blow these things.
Yeah, it's like a 2-second fix, man. I got a speaker heaven back here.
So I made that meme with Brad Pitt from Troy where he's on the horse. And the kid's like, but sir, I don't want to push the volume or it'll blow my speaker. And it's me. It says, that's why no one will remember your name. And I was like, I'm kidding. I think they took offense to it. I was like, I'm sorry, man. I was just joking. But,
yeah, that graphics I just built, this one has a 31 millimeter speaker in it.
That's a 31? Okay, look, I had a 31.
Battery level 4.07 volts.
That's loud.
Dude. Okay, so the 31 that I had for this dude came, this is the one that Phil Guinness made. It has it's custom, completely custom, but I basically made the insert there. So I originally did
now that insert keeps the speaker membrane from touching the pommel.
It keeps the connection down onto the pins.
Oh, okay, I got you.
So you got in there, you got the speaker pins right there. So like once the speaker pod goes into the pommel, like it will need this to go on that, and then once this thread's down, it pushes the pins down. See that little bounce? So, but I was disappointed in this 31. I got a 31 that we were originally going with. I don't know what it is or who made it, but it sounded nasty. I think it's blown probably too. But first test up, I was like, okay, it's the dead battery. Charge the battery. Nope. This one just did not sound good. So I was like, look, homie, I will make you 2 pods. I need to get him this bottom piece there. But I was like, if you get another 31, you can get that swapped out. I was like, but it sounds just as gnarly, if not better, with the Dark Side 28 fully enclosed, I wish I could show you. I don't have it soldered up. I need one of the little pancake connector things. I took it off that. But 28 millimeter fully enclosed, you know. That's all you need. But I was very interested to see what a 31 sounded, and I was let down. I think I got a shit deal though. I think this speaker is just what 31 millimeter speaker is it that?
I don't know.
There's nothing on it. That's why I was like, because I was like, where did you get this from? Like, where, like, we might need to replace it.
I mean,
and he was like, I don't know who he got it from.
Like, I've got a bunch of 31 millimeters laying around, and I don't even know where a lot of these are from. You know, I mean, here's some more that I have.
Yeah, mine does not look like that. That looks like something I need, because mine had the two ends to solder to, or like sticking out past the speaker, and I couldn't.
Well, that's the problem on these. That's the problem on these. I mean,
let me see it. That looks a little closer to what I have, but mine's all black. It's all black down there.
Yeah.
But they went straight down, so I had to, like, you know what I mean? Oh.
Yeah, these things are horrible. I have used these in Sabers, and they blow up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
figured that was the best bet for them, though. I was like, look, dude, you'll have 2 pods. You can swap them out. You know, it ain't hard to put a speaker, you know, solder 2 little wires in there. You're good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's, that's cool. Dude, Benji, we're not going to get through all the questions.
Oh, dude, I'm sorry. Let's get some questions, and I'll keep them short.
No.
If you let me go rogue, dude, we're going to talk about aliens, chicken fingers, and like, what would you do for $1 million? It's like,
we'll just have to do a part 2 sometime. We'll have you on for a part 2.
Anytime. Dude, I'll be 100% on it. It is an honor to be on your channel. Like, I'm a fan of your channel.
Yeah, well, dude, I'm a fan of yours, Benji. Like I said, you know, you bring a smile to my face, you know, when your videos pop up or you're on a live stream. The other night with you and K-Sith, and I didn't get to watch it live because I was at work.
Oh,
as soon as I got home, because I saw the notification pop up, and I'm like, shit, he's got K-Sith and Kyberphonics on there.
I was okay, so I was just sitting there, and I was replacing all of like 3 speaker replacements for Jesse's Saber trios, and I was like, this will take 5 minutes, and it was taking me quite a bit, and I was like, screw it, just go live. Like, I was like, let's just have something to keep me entertained, and I shot the link. And I never guess I would have lost all my money to think that only Keenan would be like, I'm here. You know what I mean? Because, you know, he works and he's got a wife, and like, he's got a life. He does, you know, the dudes who could jump on a live stream at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, he jumped on, and I was like, oh, we're about to go totally rogue on this whole stream. Nothing that I was talking about matters. But yeah, dude, next question. Let's hear it.
We'll do a couple more here. We got a couple more minutes. Do you flow?
No, only when I'm rap battling in the parking lot of a Waffle House. You know what I'm saying? That's the only flow I do. After a full belly of hash browns, dude, I'm like, all right, now you stepped into my street, dude. No, I don't flow. I did learn the Obi Annie spin, and then I was like, all right, we're good. I'm not like out in the yard doing it, but I mean,
I haven't done that yet.
To sum it up, I never really had the desire to flow. And I never really had the desire to like duel, right? Or like actually like duel somebody. And I never had anybody really willing to do it. But I had 2 friends came over, they were in town, and they were like, oh, and we got Tri-Creed. I have a couple for those reasons. I was like, yeah, we'll go outside. It was like, you know, 12 o'clock at night. And we're all slapping, I'm laughing, right? And then like 2 hours goes by, and we're like, all right, in Aikido, you know, everyone do like, we're legitimately like sparring and like trying to like actually fight. And it was fun. So I get it, but I don't duel. I like to build and display and swing around, and then I'm done.
So who is your favorite installer that you've ever seen? And this could be for all time, like somebody that was an inspiration to you, blah, blah, blah.
Favorite installer?
Yeah.
That's such a hard question. I've had so many influential I mean, I like straight up, like I say, when I saw the NeoPixel blades, I saw your videos on how to do them, all your tutorials. You know, Space Window's been doing so much for so many years. Shamim was huge.
Shamim was huge for me.
Shamim was a huge influence. I'd have to say, and I know it's kind of ridiculous to think about, but I'd say the one that probably pushed me to try to be better was watching SoCal, freaking Jordan Eugene. And I know his whole ordeal was a huge, like, just sad what went down. But I remember I used to watch his channel. I was just blown away at all the builds. He was doing all those crystal chamber, like crazy builds that not a lot.
Yeah, he was doing the master chassis on everything he did.
Everything he did was such a cool, like, I'm going to watch this Saber that I'm probably never going to get. You know what I mean? So it's like, I really enjoyed watching all that stuff.
Well, this is you can see this is Jordan Eugene's work right here.
Discs, bro, chassis discs.
Yeah, but you can tell, Jordan Eugene's wiring, was clean. I've ripped this Saber out, but, his wiring was just really pretty and really clean. When I was looking at this Saber, I was like, wow, and this is a Nana Biscotti too. So that was a really, really old Saber. But, I kept it because it was a piece of history, but I got bit by the Jordan Eugene thing. So
I loved watching it. I would like, okay, so I would have to say for sure he was very influential. And I know this is probably, hey, CB, so I swing those sabers around, dude. I'm always swinging sabers. I'm just not turning it into a dance. But the comments got to swing them. This is going to sound cliche as hell. He's my boy, but Jeremy, man, Jeremy's, I look up to a lot of the installs that he does. Like he changed my entire hobby. You know what I mean? Like when he came in, I remember seeing him in his when he first started his channel. He was in like his kitchen. You know what I mean? At the table doing all that stuff. I started watching him. I subscribed, started following, and I was like, shit, this guy's doing him a lot. I think it was my how much for a lightsaber video. I got tired of trying to answer questions in inboxes, so I made that video where it was like, here's all the companies, here's all the stuff, and I just tried to make an informational video instead of just showing off a saber. And I recommended him, and I didn't really know him at the time. I was like, Solo Sabers is a good installer, check him out. I never said a word to him really. But yeah, it was funny because I bought that chassis from him because I didn't know how to make chassis, and he had them on Etsy, and he sent it to me, and it didn't have the battery tabs, and I felt so shitty because I was like, hey, I don't think I got my stuff fully. And he was like, we talk about it. It's funny to talk about because he was like, oh no, Nerfherder Customs, I messed up his order. You know what I mean? And like, I was like, you silly bitch. We were both trying to be like nice and polite to each other about battery tabs. I really didn't care. I was like, dude, it's cool. It's no rush. But yeah, man, I'd have to say became one of my, good friends in life, not just hot lightsabers. So got mad respect for him. He is a bitch though. He's a total bitch, but mad respect for him.
He's definitely awesome.
It just helps people out, man. Nobody really was showing how to do chassis designs. He makes a video, and then now all of us are doing chassis designs. You know what I mean? Like that's a good dude to like not hog the secret sauce. So
yeah, he's been really inspiring for me just because of his energy level. And I can install a Saber in about the same time as he can, but I can't do as many back to back as he does because of my job. There's just no way.
Well, dude, even if you could, you got a whole mental, you know what I mean? Like to just problem solve and sit and solder and do all that shit. Like that's another level of what's the word I'm looking for here? Like not conditioning, but like, you know what I mean? Like he has a very what's the word I'm looking for here?
Focus.
Yeah, well, not just focused, discipline. He's got a lot of really good discipline way about it. Where I'm like as soon as I get the slightest headache on a install, I'm like, I'll do it tomorrow. But that's how I work. That's better for me. I break it up into pieces.
Yep, I'm usually the same way. I install a little bit here and a little bit there because I can only take sometimes. I can only take a little bit at a time sometimes, especially if it's been a bad day, and I'm tired. Because when you're tired and you're stressed out, sometimes you tend to make a mistake.
It's just another thing not working for you, and that's supposed to be your escape, dude. I'm with you 100%.
Yep. So sometimes I just can't do it, but it's definitely cool. But yeah, you know what? Jeremy is definitely a maker. Mountain Saber said that, and Mountain Sabers was on episode 2 of Saber Nerds.
Yeah.
And, Mountain Sabers was.
I missed it, but I went back and watched. But yeah.
But for those that don't know, that guy, he's a maker too. But yeah, Jeremy is a maker. Mountain Sabers is a maker, and Benji's a maker.
And
so
I'm a scrapper, dude.
Yeah, but dude, your sabers are awesome.
Oh, thank you.
And
Dremel in a dream, Dremel in a dream, baby. That's all I use is a Dremel in a dream.
Yeah, this was made with a Dremel in a dream. You know what I mean?
Dremel in a dream. That separates the men from the boys, dude. Straight up.
Yeah, I don't have a machine shop. I don't have all these fancy tools and lathes and
hours of cussing and just stuff flying at your face. Hell yeah.
Metal, that's right. Metal shavings. I got to wear safety goggles and a shield, and I'm still getting hit.
I'm out in the south, dude. 100 degrees outside, 100% humidity, dude. Shrapnel's flying everywhere. That's how real.
Sabers slipping out of my hands. The grinder wheel breaks, and
your safety glasses are just completely fogged up, dude. And you're trying not to breathe. Yeah, man.
You're like, hey, dude, I got a half a grinder disc sticking out of my arm, and I'm going on the way to the hospital.
I get so scared of that shit all the time.
Yeah, it's scary. Oh man. But anyway,
hey,
Benji,
Sabers. Thank you, bro. Appreciate that.
Benji, it's been great having you on tonight, and we'll have to do an episode 2 because we didn't even get 1/4 of the way through the questions.
Give me one more question. Just one more real quick.
Yeah, let's
one
see
real
here.
quick. Pick one random.
Who's your favorite lightsaber manufacturer?
Oh, I was like this.
Hilt manufacturer, not you better not spit out some Chinesium on me here.
Hilt, like something you can buy?
Yeah, like a hilt.
Or like that that's available, not just like a
pre-made hilts. Could even be
okay. KR Sabers.
Yep, KR Sabers is awesome.
Hands down. I've installed a few KR Sabers over the years on the channel, and I always feel really bad because dude, I mean, they're just Cal is an awesome. You want to talk about probably the best influence in the hobby is probably Cal. Let's be real. Like, he's the biggest pusher for DIY projects. He's just a good dude. Shut up,
threw out some Chinese.
He's been waiting all day to troll, dude. He's been waiting all day to hit me with a bunch of shit. But like Cal is like, I mean, he does a lot of stuff. So like some of the sabers that when I do install, and I find you're gonna find some things where you're like, you give your critiques, like here's where I ran into problems. Because I mean, we show it off and the install and tell the experience of how we did it. Like here's what happened and here's that. So every time I found something in like a KR Saber that I was like, oh, this switch was kind of a problem, I feel so bad because I'm listing like negative parts of it, but it's still a phenomenal hilt and a great service and a great company. So it's like, and then also whenever I posted this back in the day and Cal didn't really know who I was, or he kind of did, he said that this was one of his favorite flagship renditions, and I like screenshot that shit and walked around with a little bit more of a puffy chest that day. I was walking around like, you even know who you're talking to? Like my girlfriend and stuff. I was like, do you even know who I am? Like, do you know how sweet your man is in this world? No, I'm just kidding, dude. But like, it was a really cool moment for me. Yeah,
I mean, Cal is definitely tops. And I guess we'll go one more. This is going to be a hard question for you, and this is going to put you on the spot too because you're brilliant. It's going to put you on the spot. What is your all-time favorite Saber font and why?
This is really hard, and it's not just because of like makers. It's really hard because I have so many that I just thoroughly enjoy. And this is going to be super biased. This is so stinking biased. And people are going to be like, lame. But dude, the Son of Corellia font that we made for the speeder bikes. I got to sit in with Jesse. Obviously, we were talking about it for a while. And I got another one that I'm going to need him actually to do the same kind of thing with. We talked about it. And I was like, you need to do a speeder bike font. There's only a few of them out. I was like, like we can make it a thing. We'll hang out and, I'll say this and that, and we can just fuck around and find out. You know what I mean? And we spent a good bit, and I got to watch. That was what was really special, was I got to watch. And there was a lot of times where I was like, hey, like add this on the accent swing, maybe try. Like it was a collaborative effort. Obviously, he's the mastermind and driving, and I'm just the passenger going, yo, dude, slap this on. So it was like, but it was fun to watch. And it was cool to see it. It's so cool to see it on people's hilts, like showing it off in videos. Tim showed it off a lot, and I'm always like, fucking hell yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's a beast of a font too. Every time I swing it, I'm like, oh man, we turned the volume up on a lot of it. It's good.
That's awesome.
But I know it's biased. But my font's the best font ever, dude.
Well, yeah.
But no, It's fun, man. It's a lot of fun to do.
The mom font was out of control.
See, the mom font, look, might be, it still hits, man. People still ask me about this font. They're like, aren't you the one with the moaning and the font?
porn
I'm like,
font.
yeah, that's me. Yeah, I know. I'm aware. God dang it.
Oh man, we began and we're ending on the porn font. So
Just play it, dude.
we'll have to do an episode. We'll have to do an episode 2 someday, Benji. Benji, it's been great having you on.
Absolutely.
And you know, we got to know a little bit about you, but not enough. So we're gonna need an episode 2. But we appreciate you coming on.
Name a time and place. I'll be happy to be there, dude.
Sweet. Well, hang on, and you know, we'll get together. We'll talk a bit here after we close out. But thank you everybody for watching and tuning in. We'll get back to an episode 2. We'll see you guys later.
Thank you everybody for watching as usual. I really appreciate y'all tuning in on my channel. And as always,